Sit down. Stay tuned for more TNBC.
You're watching the home of the Super Bowl, America's sports leader, NBC.
This is the NFL on NBC with host Greg Gumbel and co-host Ahmad Rashad.
Rich Stadium outside of Buffalo is the site of a key AFC game as the 4-3 Bills host the AFC's best team, the 6-1 Denver Broncos. It's been an eventful 24 hours for the Broncos, who were snowed in Denver for most of the day yesterday. Finally made it to their hotel in Buffalo at 1 a.m. Eastern time this morning. And the kickoff will take place as scheduled at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our studios in New York. Along with Chris Collinsworth and Sam Weish, I'm Greg Gumbel. Ahmad Rashad and Joe Gibbs will join us shortly. Let's get right to the big early game of our doubleheader. The 6-1 Denver Broncos, the 4-3 Buffalo Bills. The big story of the last 24 hours has been the travails of the Broncos. A blizzard hit Denver on Friday and brought much of the region to a standstill. Starting Friday night, not one flight left Denver International Airport until Saturday night. The Broncos gathered at their practice facility, then boarded buses to get to the airport. Several players got to the practice facility by way of snowmobile. The Broncos charter finally left Denver at 7:54 p.m. Mountain Time and arrived in Buffalo in the wee hours this morning. We pick up the story by going live to Buffalo, and Tom Hammond. Tom.
All right, Greg, thank you very much. As you mentioned, it was about 1 o'clock by the time the Broncos got to their hotel. They had a quick bite to eat, then went right to bed, passing their normal meetings, going on to bed. They did get an extra hour's sleep with the time change. Wake-up calls were for 8 a.m., and by 9, the first bus was rolling toward the stadium. The second bus arriving here carried quarterback John Elway and got here, as you see, just before 10 o'clock. And when the bus carrying Coach Mike Shanahan arrived at Rich Stadium, Randy Cross was there to meet it.
Mike, sort of uncharted territory for you and the Broncos coming in here today. How have you planned on handling this whole situation with a late arrival and whatnot?
I think we handled it pretty well. We had some distractions. We were able to get everybody over at the facility with a second time frame. Initially, we talked about getting over at 1. It was just a little bit too tough for our whole football team to get there, so we pushed it back to 3:30. We had to deal with the elements, but we got a good night's sleep, and hopefully we'll be ready to go.
And Randy joins us live on the field now, and I guess just assembling the team was quite an adventure.
Well, exactly. It was Denver's excellent adventure yesterday in Denver with that snowstorm. You had players like Tim McKyer and Gary Zimmerman have their cars get stuck and have to walk in the snow with their luggage to get to the facility. You had Steve Atwater getting there on a snowmobile. The best story, though, was kicker Jason Elam. The local NBC affiliate in Denver announces that Jason Elam is stuck at County Line Road in I-25, and will somebody please go get him? They get 200 phone calls. Elam gets to the facility. It all works out fine. You know, from a coach's standpoint, it was a lost day, though. No meetings, no practice. You couldn't really do much on that flight in the wait. From a player's standpoint, you got to think, hey, I've sat with that loss for 1 week to Oakland last week. I'm mad about that. They've broken my routine. I'm mad about that. You know, I look for a Broncos team to come out here focused and fired up and ready to take it out on the Bills. Tom?
All right, Randy, we will see. And how about this for a touch of irony? The Broncos come to Buffalo, of all places, for good weather. With the bad stuff maybe following them in, we expect rain before the day is over. And that's it from balmy Buffalo. Greg?
Tom, rain is a relief after what the Broncos have been through. Thank you both, guys. The Broncos situation certainly is unusual, but not without precedent. James Lofton went through a similar experience when he played for the Packers, and he joins us from the Meadowlands with more. James.
That's right, Greg. If you play long enough, you grow through all of it. And it happened when I was in Green Bay. We're supposed to play against the Chicago Bears. A short plane ride, correct? No, we're fogged in. Finally, we're leaving at 1 o'clock. At 6 o'clock in the evening, they finally call for the buses. 2 hours later, the buses show up. 8 o'clock, 5-hour bus ride down to Chicago. Check in the hotel after 1 a.m. for a noon game the next day. Of course, we're ready to play. We tie the ball game at 7-7. Final score, 61-7. So I blame it on the weather. Greg?
All right, James, we won't blame your preparation on it. It doesn't always work out that way for the team encountering travel difficulties. With more, we go to Will McDonough. Will.
Greg, thanks very much. My story is a little bit different than James Lofton. I was talking to the Bills owner Ralph Wilson yesterday, and he said back in 1975, the Buffalo Bills had a game in St. Louis with the Cardinals. The day before the game, they flew out of Buffalo. There was bad weather through the Midwestern part of our country, and they were forced to land in Chicago. They had to get up the day of the game in Chicago while still snowing and fly into St. Louis 3 hours before kickoff. Because they were late, the players actually changed into their uniforms at the airport and got on the bus in their uniform. Meanwhile, all the coaches are complaining, we can never win today. We're out of our pregame routine. The Bills won 32-14. Back to you, Greg.
All right, Will, thanks. You know, we heard Mike Shanahan call it a distraction, but what does a coach do when the normal routine is disrupted as it has been for the Broncos?
Well, he immediately goes to his players and tries to convince them that it's an inconvenience, not a distraction. And don't ask me the difference because they're the same thing. But really, they only lost a couple of hours in terms of time. They did lose the chance to have an evening meeting the night before. But I think one factor might be as much as any. They sat on that tarmac in that airplane for like an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half. They're probably going to get up a little stiff. If I'm the coach, I'm telling them to get up a little bit early, take a walk, move around, get the kinks out.
You know, Sam, I disagree. I think that it's a little bit bigger deal than what everybody's been making this thing out to be, simply because from a player standpoint, I always felt like Saturday was my most important day. It was finally a day that you got to get off your feet, stretch out, relax a little bit, take it easy. Even if you were traveling on the road, it was a time just to sort of get yourself back together. So here they are, they're on snowmobiles, they're driving there, they're on the bus, they're on the airplane, long flight, the whole thing. This is a much bigger deal than what everybody's saying.
I'm not saying that it's a good deal. This is not something you plan, but I'm saying that at kickoff, that adrenaline kicks in, all of that stuff is history. They play football.
I got news for you. An hour and 15 on the plane is nothing if you've ever flown out of New York. That's a piece of cake. But do the Buffalo Bills feel better about themselves coming into this game?
Absolutely. They're a big underdog coming into this game. They were probably sitting around watching the World Series last night, watching your updates on what's happening with this other team's airplane, thinking, you know what, we have a much better chance to win this game. They're feeling good right now coming into this.
Okay, there's no truth to the rumor that Mike Shanahan let them watch the Buffalo Indy game from last Monday night to help them get some extra sleep, by the way. A little truth. Yeah. Second half of our doubleheader today features a big game in the AFC Central. Jacksonville at Pittsburgh. Both teams are 5-2. They played a Monday night thriller 5 weeks ago. The Steelers lined up for a winning field goal in the final seconds.
There's the snap. It's low. The placement. The kick is blocked. It's blocked. The Jaguars have won it. The Jaguars have picked the ball up, racing down the sideline. There he goes. They're going to score. Touchdown, Jacksonville. Unbelievable.
On the heels of that unbelievable game, the rematch today. With a report, we go to Phil Simms and Paul McGuire in Pittsburgh. Gentlemen.
All right, thank you, Greg. Not a pretty day here in Pittsburgh. A little rainy. Temperatures at game time are expected to be in the low 40s. Rain and wind and breezy, 10 to 20 mile-an-hour winds. And Paul talking to Tom Coughlin yesterday, this should not affect his game plan.
It should have better not. He is really upset. He said, our team has not been aggressive on the road for the last 2 years. Now, being aggressive doesn't mean that they're going to run the football. They love to throw the football. If they attack Deion Sanders, the best corner in football, a week ago, what makes you think they're not going to attack Cornell Lake, who is a converted safety to corner? But look what the Pittsburgh defense has done since Cornell went over to corner the last 2 weeks. Down 11 points.
Well, Pittsburgh, talking to Bill Cowher yesterday, he hopes that Jacksonville comes out and tries to throw the football because he believes the crowd noise really helps his pass rush here at home. The case in point, 2 times Jacksonville has played here, they've given up 13 sacks. You talk about Pittsburgh's offense, I don't think the rain is going to stop the #1 rushing offense in Jerome Bettis here today. And yesterday, I think Greg Lloyd summed it up best for the Steelers, their feelings. He said, Jacksonville's coming in here. They hope to win the game. Pittsburgh, we expect to win the game. Greg, back to you.
All right, guys, thanks very much. So as Phil and Paul alluded to, the Pittsburgh defense, the spotlight is on that unit today, Sam?
It is, and I think maybe the most valuable player on that defensive unit is number 37, Cornell Lake. Here's a guy that at UCLA was a linebacker, drafted by the Steelers. They moved him to strong safety where he prefers to play, but because of need, he moved to cornerback. And with pure speed, as we see against the Cincinnati Bengals, Carl Pickens catches the ball and is on their way to getting back in the ballgame a week ago, but watch the speed of Cornell Lake and watch the presence of mind to strip the ball loose. Nothing for the Bengals, and the Steelers go on to win that. I think this is a guy, the Lake effect has a play here.
Yeah, no question about it that this Pittsburgh defense has been much better with Cornell Lake playing corner, but This Jacksonville team with Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardle, they can throw the football on anybody. Over 300 yards the first time these two teams got together. The big question in my mind is, can they stop Jerome Bettis? With Kevin Hardy, their best run defender, out with an injury for this particular ballgame, I think Jerome Bettis is just going to take over.
Okay, snow in Denver, rain in Pittsburgh. That concludes the weather portion of our show. Let's go over to Ahmad.
No, it doesn't. See, about this weather thing, let me tell you what happened one time in Minnesota. We had a blizzard, and everybody was stranded. We walked to the airport. Got to the airport, plane wouldn't go. We walked all the way to Green Bay, whooped them, walked back.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ahmad. I believe you.
And that's exactly the way I remember it. One of the big NFC games today is Minnesota and Tampa Bay. Both teams are 5-2. Vikings coach Dennis Green made some comments in his recently released book indicating he wants to purchase a share of the team and will sue if he's not allowed to. For more, we go back to Will McDonough. Will.
Ahmad, thanks very much. Let me tell you right now, Dennis Green is in big trouble in Minnesota. Last night I talked to one of their owners who wanted to stay anonymous about what he had to say, but he had some tough things to say about Dennis Green. First of all, he thought Dennis Green, his remarks in the books, has breached his contract with the Vikings, and that is grounds for termination of contract. This owner was particularly upset because he said team president Roger Hedrick didn't know this was coming and was really blindsided by the report. I asked this Viking owner, what do you think will happen now? He says, I think there'll be a meeting sometime in the coming week, and we'll probably take a vote on whether to fire Dennis Green or not. Let's talk about another Green in the National Football League, Kevin Green, now at the 49ers. Earlier this year, he was released by Carolina, but Carolina has not let go of him yet. They went to an arbitration hearing this week, and Carolina is asking for Kevin Green to pay them back $650,000. But beyond that, General Manager Bill Polian, in his testimony before the arbitrator, said Kevin Green is one of the reasons his team has played so poorly this year, because Kevin Green left them in the lurch. They thought he was going to play, and when he won at the beginning of the season, they didn't have time to adjust their defense. Now back to you, Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Will. And did I mention we wore no gloves on that walk to Green Bay? Anyway, here's a look at the rest of our show.
Still to come, we'll hear from 40-year-old Warren Moon, who has the Seattle Seahawks moving in the right direction. We'll meet the new starting quarterback of the New York Giants, Danny Cannell. One of the best coaches in football is Pittsburgh's Bill Cowher. He'll talk about today's big game with Jacksonville. And we'll have the story of Broncos running sensation Terrell Davis when the NFL on NBC continues.
Versus Washington used to mean the Colts and the Redskins, but nowadays it's the Ravens and the Redskins. Washington is 3-0 in its new home, Jack Kent Cooke Stadium. With a report, let's go to Bob Trumpy.
Ahmad, you guys have been dealing with the nightmarish road trip of the Denver Broncos to Buffalo. No such problem for the Baltimore Ravens today. Consider that last night they stayed at a hotel in Baltimore that they generally stay in before home games. Vinny Testaverde and his teammates got on the buses at 9:02 this morning. Yes, there was raining, but you don't see any snowdrifts. 33 miles to the stadium they're now calling Big Jack. Inside the Washington Redskins await Tony Siragusa, rested, comfortable, dressed casually. And Greg, I want you to pass along a message to Ahmad. Paul Brown made us walk to a game one time in the snow, no gloves. We walked to and from the game, and it was uphill both ways.
Consider it delivered, Trump. Thank you. Let's move from Washington, D.C. to Washington State, where later today the Seattle Seahawks host the Oakland Raiders. It's a key game for both teams. Oakland is 3-4, Seattle 4-3. The Seahawks have won 4 of their last 5 under 40-year-old quarterback Warren Moon. Randy Cross spoke with the oldest player in the NFL.
Back in March, you signed as a free agent. You could pretty much pick where you wanted to go in a lot of cases. Well, why Seattle?
I think Seattle for a few reasons. I think, first of all, where it is. It was a place where we thought about wanting to settle down when I got done playing the game. And then just looking from the football side, I think just looking at what the football organization was doing as far as the free agent market, going after free agents aggressively, guys like, Chad and Willie Williams and Benny Blades. And so from a football standpoint, I thought this would be a good place also to finish.
Okay, now your first game as a Seattle Seahawk, you're in Canton, Ohio, playing the Minnesota Vikings. in the Hall of Fame game. Did you kind of figure out whereabouts that Warren Moon bust would look good?
I saw a lot of different spots they could just kind of squeeze it in there, you know, and hopefully that will happen for me one day. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it'd be a great icing, you know, to a career if I was to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
It's a great situation that we have right now. If John happened to go down, or if something happened, Warren Moon's going to step in and you're not going to lose a step at all.
You come to Seattle with the understanding you're going to be a backup. John Freese goes down with a broken thumb, and you're just thrown into that Jets game.
Well, you know, Randy, in this game, you never know what's going to happen. You always have to be prepared, and really kind of shocked me because here I am wondering where I'm going to be on the sidelines, which hat I'm going to wear while I'm standing on the sideline. Am I going to have a headset on or not? All these different things are going through my mind for this first game, and all of a sudden I'm thrust in there as the guy.
You'll be 41. Live to get there.
Seahawks first-round selection this year, Sean Springs from Ohio State. He's 3 years old when you started in the CFL as a professional. Do you look around sometimes and say, what am I doing here?
I do. I really do, because, you know, Sean Springs, I played against his dad, Ron Springs, with the Cowboys for many years, and I've talked to Ron many times since he's been up here visiting, and just to see that I'm playing with his son, I mean, that's kind of remarkable in itself. But I'm really proud of the fact that I'm still able to play at this age and still able to perform the way I am.
The fire still burns.
If you weren't to win a championship, would it be all right?
I guess it would have to be all right. It would be something that I definitely wish that I had been able to do while I was playing, especially as long as I played, because even though I have won championships on other levels, you know, this is the ultimate, and you'd love to win the ultimate as a player.
Oh, in the middle of that piece, the opening chords, Neil Young, Old Man, Take a Look at My Life. Here's a guy who's 2 years older than you are, and you've been retired 8 years.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to deal with you, so he has some real advantages in life. Oh, thank you very much for that. You know, but I like what's happening in Seattle right now. Here's a team, they're basically playing a run and shoot, I think, to make Warren Moon comfortable. 4 wide receivers. But the big story out there is this Seattle defense. After giving up 76 points the first 2 games of the season, both of those losses, in the last 5 games, just 3 touchdowns, they're really on the move in Seattle.
Sam.
2 good teams with average records with what might have been kind of seasons. But I think the Oakland Raiders, with Jeff George, one of the best quarterbacks in the game, Napoleon Cobb, one of the best running backs, well-stocked defense. All of that said, if they lose today, that big win against Denver, out the window. They got the horses to do it, though.
Yeah, Warren Moon on one side, Jeff George, the top-rated quarterback in the AFC, on the other. We'll be right back.
Still to come, the Steelers' fiery coach Bill Cowher talks about today's big game with Jacksonville. And we'll hear from the AFC's leading rusher, Terrell Davis, on his special relationship with his mom. But up next, the new guy starring on Broadway, Giants quarterback Danny Cannell. This is the NFL on NBC. Once again, here's Greg Gumbel.
And we welcome you back as we take a look at some of the other games around the league, beginning with the Battle of Missouri. Kansas City and St. Louis. The Chiefs are 5-2, and the Rams, Sam, can't score points. They just can't score touchdowns.
Not only that, they've got a lot of things going against them going into this game. Lawrence Phillips has a pulled groin, your favorite injury. Their best receiver, Eddie Kinnison, pulled groin, your favorite injury again. And Leslie O'Neal on the other side has just a foot. He's not as bad an injury. But on the other side, 9 days to prepare. The Kansas Cities with 3 good running backs. Long day for St. Louis.
I always hate it when I pull my groin. What is that? Huh? Groin.
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 Whatever.
That's very good.
I'm from Atlanta.
Tony Banks and company, they've really been struggling, Greg, on the offensive side of the football, though. He's starting to hear the boo birds, and now Derek Thomas, healthy for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not going to get any easier today.
Not a lot of good news for St. Louis, I guess. Anyway, San Francisco's at New Orleans. Since the Niners lost Jerry Rice the opening week, they have won 6 in a row, Chris.
And J.J. Stokes and Terrell Owens basically making plays that I don't think they would have ever had the opportunity to make if Jerry Rice had been there all along. Now they've been forced into the situation where in clutch situations, they're throwing them the football. And right now, San Francisco has the balance they've never had with the wide receivers and with the running game.
Sam, let me ask you a question that everybody's asking Mike Ditka. What about New Orleans?
I've got a couple of letters from Mike this week. Want to know how I was doing here.
Mike, swap with you.
I don't want to swap right now, I'll tell you. I don't. Mike said that he would not let this get under his skin. This is the big test this week.
All right, the main attraction Monday night is Green Bay at New England. This is a rematch of Super Bowl 31, and for all the platitudes we've been sending New England's way, Patriots have suddenly lost 2 of their last 3.
And their schedule gets very tough in the next month or so. But you just have to wonder now, if Glenn Foley could pick apart this New England defense the way that he did a week ago, what's Brett Favre and company going to do coming into this football game? And Sam, I've got to ask you, though, Mike Holmgren made the decision during the bye week to give his team an entire week off, 6 straight days. That's really unprecedented in this league.
I would never do that, never did do that, because I didn't want the guys to get out of the rhythm of the season. You know, they get a certain ritual going on. Plus, you don't know where these guys are going to go. They're probably not going to come back rested, a lot of them. They're going to go back home, visit family. It's a tough decision, and the only way we're going to find out if it's the right one is how they play today.
All right, the other Monday night game is Chicago at Miami, a game delayed by a day because of the World Series, and I imagine the Bears would like to delay it forever. They're 0-7.
Well, they're coming into this ball game, though. At least they've got Curtis Conway back. They're going to have Eric Kramer in there throwing the football, so I guess they think they've got their best foot forward.
Sam, for the first time all season, the Miami Dolphins finally have a running game now. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar over 100 yards. If this team gets the running game to go with Dan Marino and the way this defense is playing, they may go on a run.
The Bears are the bad news Bears. Stay with us. Our NFL NBC coverage continues.
Meadowlands today, the NFC East leading New York Giants host the free-falling Cincinnati Bengals. With a report, back to James Lofton.
Well, Greg, the big news around the Giants camp this week was that rookie running back Tiki Barber might be back in action. He's missed 3 ball games. I saw him at practice on Friday. He looked fast, he looked strong, he looked healthy. Jim Fossil says, I'm going to give him another week to get really, really ready. And so the running game falls into the lap of Tyrone Wheatley. 2 weeks ago, Wheatley had a 100-yard ball game. Last week against the Lions, 13 carries, 16 yards. Does Fossil panic? No, he turns to blocking back Charles Way. Way has had over 90 yards the last 2 weeks. If you want to run the ball game, if you want to run the ball, you play against the Cincinnati Bengals. They are 30th in the league against the run. And this week, they only have 4 defensive linemen who are healthy. You know, Ahmad, if you pick up a couple more pounds, you could maybe play for the Bengals on the defensive line.
James, man. You can catch him at the nearest comedy club. Anyway, with the Giants sitting atop the NFC East, the buzz on Broadway is new starting quarterback Danny Cannell. Now, last week against the Lions, he showed a knack for predicting things, which brings to mind another quarterback who was the talk of Broadway.
Went to overtime. We went out there, and Chris Calloway went out there for the coin toss. And when I saw that we won the toss, I went over to Corey Miller, as one of our defensive leaders, and said to him, you know, I kind of looked at him and I said, hey, you can pack it in for the day. I said, we're going to go out there and take care of our business. You know, on the 3rd play, when I got the call, you know, I knew it was a touchdown play if we could get it off.
Cannell fakes the handoff to Way, looking. Deep post, instead throws deep sideline, caught by Callaway, still on his feet, to the 40, 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown, there is a flag.
First thing I did, I took a knee and was praying, they please don't be against us.
And it's a touchdown for the Giants.
Feel like Broadway Joe?
I don't know if Broadway quarterback's good for me because I'm not real flashy. I'm not the type of guy, but, you know, I'm going to try to keep doing the same things I've been doing.
Not real flashy, huh? You tell the defense, don't worry, you won't be coming back on the field for overtime here. You get in the huddle and say, if you guys block, I'm throwing a touchdown pass. Not real flashy?
That's optimism.
Dan Cannell Sr. is the Florida Marlins and Miami Dolphins team physician. For 23 years, he was also the New York Yankees team doctor. That's where Danny became friends with one of his father's patients.
Reggie Jackson was back when he was in his prime with the Yankees, and he had to have surgery, and he couldn't find a hotel room or something, so he decided to stay at our house for a week. And you know, we got to pal around, we went swimming, he'd throw me around in the pool, and we'd watch TV together. And you know, I was playing t-ball at the time, and so he gave me a couple batting tips. And he actually came to a game and sat in the car with my dad because he didn't want to get swamped with autographs, and it was my turn to bat. And I came up and hit a home run, so he said to my dad, he said, hey, Doc Cannell, he said, I got to go out and shake his hand. So he comes running out, and as soon as I'm touching home plate, he's right there to shake my hand. And, you know, the whole place is going nuts. All the kids are going crazy. And it was just a really special moment for me, you know, as a kid growing up.
Do you, as a young quarterback, have to prove your toughness to this team? I mean, here I look at you and as a doctor's kid, silver spoon in your mouth. I mean, the kid had everything. Reggie Jackson high-fived him when he hit a home run in T-ball. Do you have to, in some ways, overcome all that?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's something I've dealt with all my life, and I think that people just realize that that's not what I'm about. The thing that's been a pleasant surprise for me is a lot of guys didn't even know where I came from. They didn't know my dad was a doctor, and that's the biggest compliment to me, is saying, you know, that I'm still just an ordinary person.
Well, he is a mild-mannered man, but don't be fooled. His teammates all say he has it, whatever it is. Well, I guess he's got it, and Dave Brown doesn't. We'll be right back.
Coming up, Steelers coach Bill Cowher talks about last month's frustrating loss in Jacksonville as his team gets ready for today's big rematch.
Raiders for being chosen the Staples Coach of the Week. Bugle's Raiders were the first NFL team to beat the Denver Broncos this year when they took a 28-25 victory last Sunday at home. The winning school is Cleveland Elementary School in Oakland, California. It'll be receiving $5,000 in school supplies from Staples, the office superstore. Let's get back to our big late game, Jacksonville and Pittsburgh. Steelers head coach Bill Cowher has led the Steelers to the playoffs in every one of his 5 seasons. During that time, he's had to contend with free agent losses as much as anybody. Sam White spoke with the Steelers' fiery leader.
There are a lot of new faces, and you can't overestimate, you know, what that's going to create. It's going to create maybe indecision. It's going to create some hard times. But, you know, the one thing going through a training camp with it, there's a good chemistry on this team. There's a closeness. There's a resolve. And I've talked about with our team a lot that you just see a will to win.
Look like you run that before. Good job, Slash.
You made a tough call when you put Cordell Stewart in there, made him your quarterback. Exactly when did you decide this is the way we have to go?
Well, you know, we went through the off-season program, and I think made the call right before we went to training camp. And I think the one guy that had a chance to be something special was Cordell. And when you get around this guy, there's something that he has an intangible. He's a winner, and he's got that feel about him. He's got that look about him and a presence about him as a quarterback that he's a natural leader. But it was important, I think, for Cordell's development that he knew that he was the guy, whether he's going to have success, whether he's going to have a tough game. I was not going to put him in a situation where he's going to question himself.
Well, the coming out party for Cordell Stewart. He got a kiss from Bill Cowher.
You're an emotional coach from that sideline as opposed to the way I was. I was a very stoic, stand around, do nothing.
Wake up! You're looking at me like I'm not even talking. You're not hearing me.
You look like you're having a blast out there on the sideline. Is that true?
Yeah, it is, you know, Sam. And I think I've not been very good at hiding emotions, and that's something I think that you got to be yourself. I think that's the thing that you can't lose sight of. And it's an emotional game, and I think if you can't show your emotions, then you're in the wrong business.
There's the snap. It's low. The placement. The kick is blocked. It's blocked. The Jaguars have won it.
And Chris Hudson picks the ball up, going down the sideline. I happen to notice. I just noticed you standing there. Your knuckles got all white. I don't know what that's about. What went through your mind as he was passing right in front of you?
Well, to be honest, when the ball was blocked, I knew it was the last play of the game. The ball started bouncing toward me, and I was going to be like, you know, Charlie Brown, just go kick the ball. And I was upset, and all of a sudden I realized that there was a player coming to pick it up, and ran back off the sideline, and he ran real close. And the thought crossed my mind, just, you know, hey, the game's over, you know, why the heck are you picking up the ball? And so it was a frustrating ending to almost a great comeback.
If it were to happen again, just on the outside chance, here goes Chris Hudson down the sideline again. Is there any reason that you were wearing this football helmet at practice today? I mean, I don't want to bring anything that the commissioner would, you know, give you a little phone call about. But
I'm going to be the first person that goes up to Chris Hudson. I've watched him play football. He's a pretty hard hitter, and I don't want him mad because I'm not so sure that I would have been able to take him down anyway.
And the Jaguars have beaten the Steelers. Unbelievable!
It was frustrating, but I really think that night that we grew up as a football team. I think that night in Jacksonville, we had an identity. And as I stated before, it's a resolve, a will to win that I saw on this football team that I think united us. When that game was over, I felt a lot better about our football team than I did going in.
Well, the thing that jumps out at you about Bill Cowher is he is a very fiery coach, but it seems to fit the personality of his team. Let's go out to North Carolina and ask Joe Gibbs what his take is on Bill Cowher.
Ahmad, it's obvious you can have all kinds of personalities on the sidelines. Think back to a Landry or Walsh and those poses on the sideline, or in my case, I was just scared to death. I was too scared to show emotion. And then on the other side, we have guys like Madden and Ditka, and now Cowher run up down the sideline, kissing people and everything. But I think the most important thing that impresses me about Bill Cowher, he has a feel. He seems to make the right moves at the right time with his quarterbacks, with people on that team. He's got a lot of free agents leaving. He has a good feel, and that's the one thing you got to have as a coach.
All right, thanks, Joe. Sam, what kind of coach were you? Where did you fit in that?
I was stoic and violent. I don't know. I was somewhere in between all of that, depending on whether we were ahead or behind. But let me tell you about Bill Cowher. This guy has tremendous respect from the team. He handles the players right. But this started with the Rooney family throughout the organization. A relatively low-budget football team with a lot of turnover, but the consistency is that he's the defensive coordinator, basically. When Dom Capers was there, Dick LeBeau, the system stayed the same. I think this team's going to continue to win with this guy.
You were also cerebral.
Yeah, that too.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Coming up, Neil O'Donnell starts for the Jets next week, while Glenn Foley returns to the bench. We'll debate Bill Parcells' decision next. The NFL on NBC is brought to you by American Express. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more. By Radio Shack, you've got questions, we've got answers. And by PlayStation, a bit of advice for gamers everywhere. Never underestimate the power of PlayStation.
Let's talk about some of the other games today. A big game in the NFC Central. Both Minnesota and Tampa Bay are 5-2. The Bucs have lost 2 in a row. They were off to a quick start, but this has happened before in Tampa.
Well, let's review when it happened last time that they won a string at the end of the season and then started out 5-2. They fired the coach. When
Who was that coach?
Well, I know from my family knows real well who that was. Actually, this is a team that does start fast. This game, along with the next couple of games, are going to decide this season, not the 5-2 start.
All right, Sam. Dallas is at Philadelphia. The Cowboys are 4-3. The Eagles 3-4. Dallas was lucky to win the first meeting on a botched field goal attempt. They may have a new savior in Dallas. However, Herschel Walker came up big.
And don't forget, Herschel was the MVP on this offense for Philadelphia twice before they cut him. So he's fired up and ready to go in this one. But I also like what Herschel has done for this offense, along with Eric Bjornsson. We talked about the problems that the Cowboys have had with the blitz. Last week, Bjornsson and Herschel Walker, 9 receptions on those short little dump-off passes. Didn't get Troy Aikman hurt in the football game. I think he's really added something.
Okay, don't go away. We have something to talk about here. The New York Jets have a bye this week, but it was an eventful week nonetheless. That's because Neil O'Donnell was pulled last Sunday against the Patriots and replaced by Glenn Foley, who led the Jets to victory.
They go to Neil. Touchdown.
Glenn Foley, 11 straight completions. 13 consecutive passes. Could be the nail in the coffin of number 14, the guy standing over on the sideline. That's 14 in a row. Foley's directing the ship now, but he's giving you guys the best chance to win.
But despite Foley's heroics, Bill Parcells named Neil O'Donnell as his starter next week against Baltimore.
The team played almost a flawless half of football. And, you know, it's on the film, and it's pretty evident what happened. But again, it probably wasn't good enough. I mean, I didn't complete every pass, and I still got some work to do.
I'm not telling you what my thinking was. I told you I thought I'd do what was best. I'm not going to explain it, tell you what the process was or anything else. See, I know where this all goes, and I'm going to keep it from going there. Okay? So I know where it goes. Because I know one question leads to another about this and that and this and that and the situation. Here's the situation. Get it straight. O'Donnell's starting against the Ravens. Foley's ready to go. Period. Okay? And it doesn't need to be discussed any further.
Bill Parcells is not making a whole lot of friends among the local media with the way he handled the announcement, but he's made the decision, and the question, Sam, is, do you agree with it?
The spark worked. They won the ball game against the New England Patriots. The situation, not the controversy, the situation that follows is if Neil O'Donnell has a slow part of a ball game, do the fans start to react? Do the players start to react and look around to see? And the way the players do it, they don't do it by looking around. They neck stay still, their eyes move left to right, wondering if Neil O'Donnell's coming out of there.
That's exactly right, and that's my whole point in this thing. I think Glenn Foley should be getting a chance to play the game, because right now Neil O'Donnell, he's going to be in the game, and every time he has a 3-and-out series, the fans are, come on, put in Foley. The players are going to start looking over Bill Parcells. Come on, get this guy in there, instead of looking at themselves and saying, Me, I've got to fix this thing. I have to go play harder. Glenn Foley, every time he's come in the game, in the preseason, he took the team from here to here. In the game the other day, from here to here. Why not give this kid a chance and take the pressure off of Neil O'Donnell?
We have our usual scenario here. Chris Collinsworth is wrong. He's on the wrong side. And we have Sam straddling the fence. He doesn't know where he wants to go.
That.
And I'm only one that's right here. Bill Parcells is right. Hey, you have a veteran and Neil O'Donnell. It's a big deal when you set him down, okay? And I'll tell you what, Foley was great coming off the bench. Hey, not only that, Neil O'Donnell, hey, Chris has not even had a bad year. This guy's got 12 TDs and only 3 interceptions. I tell you what, you got the perfect scenario. Let the veteran start, bring Foley off the bench. Hey, let the fans scream. They're going to scream anyway. This is good for Parcells. He's got 2 good quarterbacks.
But O'Donnell has a bad arm anyway. He's only going to take half the snaps in practice this week as it is. Why not say, all right, just hide behind the bad arm. We're going to let Foley play for a couple of weeks here with the bye week, and then next week, see what he can do. If he doesn't get it done, then go back to O'Donnell. He's got the perfect excuse here.
Why take that big a step? Just go with O'Donnell. Let your veteran start and use the same scenario. Hey, it worked last week. It'll work again.
All right, Joe, so ends another session of the Sunday morning coffee clash. We'll take a timeout, and the NFL on NBC continues in just a moment.
Coming up, Terrell Davis of the Broncos is among the elite running backs in the NFL. We'll hear from him and his mom next.
Broncos quarterback John Elway warming up in Buffalo. It won't only be Buffalo fans cheering against Elway today in Rich Stadium because it's Cleveland Browns Fan Appreciation Day in Buffalo. Some 10,000 Cleveland fans have traveled the 90 miles from Cleveland to Buffalo to cheer against Elway and the Broncos, their bitter rivals from the late 1980s. Browns fans get their team back in 1999, but for today, they'll be in Buffalo. And speaking of Cleveland, the focus of the city is on tonight's World Series. Game 7 is in Miami, the Florida Marlins against the Cleveland Indians. The pitching matchup is 21-year-old Jarrett Wright against Al Leiter. Greg?
What a baseball guy you are, Ahmad. Despite their loss last week, the Denver Broncos are arguably the best team in football right now. And as we hit the halfway point of the season, the guy who's been maybe the NFL's best player has been running back Terrell Davis.
There's a quote from John Elway earlier this season. Yeah, I'm sure you have. First of all, what was your reaction when you heard that?
I didn't think he said that at all. I thought someone may have misquoted him or something, but apparently he did. But I think what's happened is that, you know, John's still the leader of this team, and I think that we have a running game that's pretty much going to balance with the passing game. You know, if you can ride the running game as long as you can and then pass when you need to, I think John's all for that.
Do you see defenses specifically gearing up for you these days?
Yeah. Which is kind of cool. I mean, you never thought when you come to the league that people would sit there and do preparation talk about Terrell Davis, and I've heard that from some of my friends on other teams when they talk about what they studied this week. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of cool, and I think that I'm ready for the challenge.
Terrell Davis pops it loose. He'll score.
Has the success gone to your head at all?
I don't think so. Probably not. I see myself as the same person that I was 3 years ago.
And if you were to change, what would your mom do to you?
She would kill me. My mother would be the first one to let me know, first of all.
So how's your wrist?
It's okay. Loosen up a little bit today.
Of course, I'm always yelling at the other players, especially when they step on him and they hit him hard. And
She just moved here recently. Why did she do that?
Well, I think it was both of our decisions. I think she wanted to leave San Diego. And I wanted her to be closer to me. I figured that these are really the prime times of my life. I think these are the days that I'm going to cherish most, playing football, and I'm having a ball. So I wanted to share that with my mom. You make the best chicken.
oh, well, good. Good, he thinks so. Everybody thinks their mom is the best cook, though.
She's the best cook. She's the best cook ever.
First guy over 200 yards, and obviously game ball for TD and the offensive line.
There's a lot of salute going on here by the men in blue.
What does Mom think about the Mile High salute?
Well, she's all, it's funny. My mother calls me up, and I think she saw some other teams doing it. Terrell, they stole your salute.
I think everybody's stolen it. I think it's very nice, and now they need to just turn around one day and just salute their audience.
What do you think about other teams doing it?
I think once you do something in the NFL, it's going to catch on and people are going to do it. I mean, like that, what is that? Push it up? I don't know what that is. But I mean,
raise the roof.
Raise the roof. I mean, how many people you see doing that?
Lots.
Okay, so
Lots.
I think once you get something that's kind of catchy, it's kind of slick, you know, it says a lot without doing much. You know, you're not acting a fool, you're just standing up and doing something that's real classy looking, and I think people like that.
How about the rushing title? You didn't miss out on that by much.
Well, you know, I wouldn't have thought about it had it not been so close. But to give me something and put it in my mouth and let me taste it and then take it away from me, I mean, that hurts. In the last couple of years, all you see are Barry, Emmett, Barry, Eric. I mean, there's no one else in there. So that would have been nice to see a Terrell Davis somewhere in that slot. But, you know, I still have years to go. And, you know, hopefully one day before I retire or, you know, my career ends, hopefully I can get it.
The fact that you're from San Diego and the fact that the Super Bowl is being played in San Diego, what would that mean to be able to play in the big game in your hometown?
That would be huge. That would be a dream come true. I mean, when I think Denver came and played Washington when I was in high school, and I remember seeing the Super Bowl there, and I thought, man, that would just be a dream come true to actually play in a Super Bowl in San Diego. And we have an opportunity this year to do that. I mean, it would just be like the pinnacle of my career, my short career.
And if he stays healthy, a productive career. Not only a quality football player, a quality young man, Terrell Davis. There's little doubt the Broncos with Davis can run the football. The problem has been stopping the run. They are allowing a league-high 5.7 yards per rush.
Anytime you give up 7 big plays like we have, we've given them up to some great running backs, but we've had some missed tackles, we've had some technique errors, some missed assignments. When you play a one-gap defense, you have to be almost perfect.
Mike Shanahan's talking about high-risk one-gap defense. What's going on with the Denver Broncos D?
Well, let's explain what one-gap defense is. It simply means that each defensive player is responsible for one gap in the defense. Earlier in the season against Cincinnati, John Mobley's responsible for the gap between the center and the guard. But if he gets pushed by that gap, there's going to be a big hole. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals cut off the defensive tackle. Kajana Carter starts to his right, sees Mobley being pushed by the hole, bends back to the left, 79 yards down the field. You know, when you have a one gap, it's unforgiving because the secondary, the safeties, are very important in case that gap opens up. Last week, Napoleon Kaufman, 57 yards on this play. Bill Romanowski does his job. Both inside linebackers fill the same gap, and Tyrone Braxton overruns it just long enough to allow Napoleon Kaufman to get through. 57 yards down the field, and this is what's costing them 5.7 yards per carry in the National Football League, these long runs.
You know, Sam, I think it's important to point out why teams play this one-gap defense. The purpose is to get those pass rushers up the field to try and get some pressure on the quarterback. But the problem with it, as you pointed out, is it is very vulnerable to these big runs.
All right, guys, we'll take a time out here, and we're back with the Honda Pick of the Week right after this.
The Pick of the Week is brought to you by American Honda, maker of fine quality automobiles, motorcycles, and power equipment. Chris Collinsworth lost for the first time last week, so he's now tied for the lead with Greg Gumbel. With this week's picks, here's Greg.
Talking about, I'm ecstatic. Here's the real news in today's picks. Joe Gibbs is not picking Pittsburgh. He's taking Tampa Bay over Minnesota. Everybody else going with the Steelers over the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're all going to look either very good or very bad by morning.
You notice the top was Rashad picking the Steelers first? Trendsetter.
Thank you. We invite you to pick along with us online at www.nbcsports.com. Look for the NFL on NBC interactive icon. Incidentally, 36 degrees in Denver. The thaw has begun. We will see you at halftime. The NFL on NBC continues after these messages from your local station.
Terrell Davis. At fullback, number 42, Detron Smith. Broncos saw their dream of an unbeaten season go bouncing away. The Raiders handing Denver its first loss. Now John Elway and the Broncos try to rebound against a Bills team that features one of the league's all-time best defensive players, Bruce Smith, who hopes the Broncos' trip to Buffalo is as bad as the weather they left in Denver. Rich Stadium, Orchard Park, New York, sold out today as the Denver Broncos meet the Buffalo Bills. In the AFC West, despite that first loss of the season, Denver still in first place, a game ahead of Kansas City. And in the AFC East, Buffalo at 4-3 is right in the middle of the title chase. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rich Stadium. Tom Hammond and Randy Cross. We will be seeing the marquee players, John Elway and Bruce Smith, but a lot of factors are at work here, and despite the tremendous start by the Broncos, they have to be a little concerned about their rushing defense.
I think more than a little, Tom, to be honest with you, but especially the big plays. This is a defense that says it's one of the best in the league, but the big plays have just killed them. Kajana Carter a couple weeks ago at Mile High Stadium, 79 yards. Last week against the Raiders, Napoleon Kaufman, 227 total, had an 83 and a 57. The missing link over the years for the defense in the AFC in the Super Bowl has been the physical, dominating defense. They haven't had it. Can Denver prove they have it? I don't know at this point if they do.
Well, the Bills can be a formidable rushing team with the development of rookie Antoine Smith. They can always keep a fresh back in the game. Smith is the leading rusher for the Bills. Thurman Thomas, of course, has just gone over 11,000 yards in his great career. The problem for the Bills is they get behind and then can't use the rushing game.
But they've got to have the running game against the Denver Broncos because this is a team that starts as fast as they do slow. They have 56 points in the first quarter. The Bills have 6. You've got to get out of the first quarter against the Broncos strong. You've got to be even. If you're in a hole, you're asking for serious trouble.
And it remains to be seen if that rough trip in will affect the Broncos' play today. The Bills and the Broncos back with the kickoff in just a moment. Welcome back to Buffalo. Broncos win the toss. They'll receive. Steve Christie set to kick off for the Buffalo Bills. Vaughn Hebron awaits the kick. Hebron moves up, takes a short kick at the 9-yard line. Got away from one man and then fell down. So a good defensive play on special teams by Smedley, Eric Smedley. And now John Elway leads his offense onto the field. Elway needs 150 yards today to go over 50,000 total offense in his career. And don't forget the switch in the offensive line. Zimmerman moving to left tackle against the Raiders a week ago with Tony Jones moving to right tackle. Terrell Davis, leading rusher in the AFC. Detron Smith starting today. Howard Griffith banged up his knee against the Raiders, inactive, won't play today. First down just short of the 20 for the Broncos. Terrell Davis, the lone setback. McCaffrey in motion. First down pass, a short drop. Elway on target to the 24-yard line. Shannon Sharp tackled immediately by Damian Covington. Formidable front three for the Bills defense. Hanson, Washington, and Bruce Smith tied for the NFL lead in sacks with 9. Bryce Popp also a formidable pass rusher. Spielman the leading tackler. Jeff Burris had some injury problems early in the season back at left corner. Vaughn Hebron in the lineup here now on second down for Elway. Hebron in motion. Backfield empty. Here's Elway to pass. Across the middle and complete. First down. Catch made by Dwayne Carswell. And Damian Covington again forced to cover the tight end. It'll be first down Denver.
You know, Tom, you look at this game the way it started offensively for the Denver Broncos. It's like they want a game to start. They've got their rhythm. They've got a real cadence going with their offense. Bang, bang, bang. Last week, lots of yards, no rhythm, and no real ability by Mike Shanahan's offense to threaten consistently.
Davis back in the game. McCaffrey bottom of the screen. Rod Smith to the top. Davis bounces to the outside. Wrapped up after a gain of 3 or 4 yards. Jeff Burris first to arrive on the scene. There's Terrell Davis. One of the reasons he's had such a tremendous season has been the fact that he's not having the migraine headaches that have bothered him throughout his career. He comes in averaging 123 yards per game, which is tops in the NFL. One of the reasons that the migraines have gone, they hadn't had one since the San Diego game last season. He's wearing braces, which corrected his bite, changed his medication too. It's made a big difference. No more migraines. Elway with a fake to Davis, finds Sharp. Shannon falls forward close to the first down, just shy of the 45-yard line. Free safety Kurt Schultz and Bryce Popp putting the pressure on John Elway.
And what the Denver defense, or the Buffalo defense, have seen so far out of Denver's offense is what makes them so dangerous. They can give you one tight end in Sharp. They can give you the other tight end in Carswell. They can give you Von Hebron in the backfield. They can give you Davis in the backfield. They mix things up. John Elway spreads his ball around as good as any other quarterback in the league. People make a big deal about Drew Bledsoe and 9 different receivers catching a touchdown in New England. Well, everything is done just as well here in Denver.
So far, though, it's been the tight ends, 2 to Sharp and 1 to Carswell.
First down for the Broncos.
First down, Denver. They have spread it out this year, though. They're the 3 top receivers. Sharp passing McCaffrey for the 2nd spot in the game last week against Oakland.
And teams aren't dumb, though. Sharp is getting much of his offense done in short bursts. They're guarding the middle of the field and double teaming if he gets down the field.
Opening drives have resulted in scores 4 of 7 times. Elway has not missed a pass. Here's a handoff to Davis. Dropped by Damian Covington. Covington made a nice play against the run that time.
Well, this defense in general, especially the front 7, is the strength of this defense, and it all starts up front in the middle with Ted Washington, who went out of that game last Monday night against Indianapolis, got poked in the eye, and had to leave. But he's wearing a little bit of a visor deal. See the visor there around his helmet? That's all put in there just to keep the fingers out of his face mask. Though I think they're nuts with sticking your fingers in any nose guard's face mask. You're liable not to draw back as many as you put in.
I don't think I want to make Ted mad either. Second down play. Davis bouncing his way close to midfield.
Davis
tackled again by Damian Covington. Covington in his 3rd season from North Carolina State. 3rd round draft choice in '95, is the 2nd leading tackler for the Bills. Only had 4 career starts prior to this season.
And he's very much the unsung inside linebacker for the Bills. Everybody wants to talk about Chris Spielman. Well, you know, Chris Spielman is a great inside linebacker, but Covington is, I think, in my opinion, a more sure tackler.
6 defensive backs now as Covington's out of the game. Smith, Green, and McCaffrey, 3 wide receivers. Elway from the gun, swings it to Davis. Davis goes one-on-one with Burris, and Burris makes the play at midfield with help from Marlo Perry.
A big difference. A week ago, this offense of Denver's matched up man-on-man with Terrell Davis, saying, hey, look, you've got to beat the one guy. He made him miss 3 or 4 times. Jeff Burris concentrated like he should on that belt buckle, didn't watch anything else jiggling and wiggling, and made the tackle on the whole body.
And now it's going to be your Tom Ruin that'll wiggle it downfield to Burris, who is in punt receiving formation. There he is. Ruin's punt. Burris calls for the fair catch, makes it at about the 15-yard line. Bills' first possession coming up when we return to Rich Stadium.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better. By the 1998 Honda Accord, an Accord like no other. By UPS, the official package delivery company of the NFL. And by the Edge Pizza, new from Pizza Hut. Have you been to the Edge?
Not too far from Niagara Falls, Orchard Park, New York. Tom Hammond, Randy Cross. Buffalo will begin this way with Jerry Ostrowski starting at his 3rd offensive line position this season. Now at right tackle, Todd Collins, Thurman Thomas, although we'll see a lot of Antoine Smith today, and the incomparable Andre Reed. First down play, Collins, play action fake. Here's Eric Moulds, who is in on the first play at wide receiver, and a stop by Darian Gordon for very little gain. In fact, maybe a loss of a couple yards on the play. The Broncos defense was ready for that one. Smith and Traylor, the former Chiefs, Michael Dean Perry and Alfred Williams up front for the Broncos. Mobley, the young linebacker, leading tackler. Romanowski, the veteran. The safeties, Braxton and Atwater, got a little bit of a criticism for their run defense against Napoleon Kaufman last week. Collins goes down the sideline, incomplete for Moulds. Eric Moulds, the first-round draft choice of the Bills last year, somewhat of a disappointment so far in his career, and many thought he had a breakthrough game Monday night against Indianapolis.
Well, he really did, and they involved him early, but Marv Levy points out very quickly he's a guy that, you know, got up to about 220 pounds, and they finally got him back down about 5 pounds to 215. They want him down about 210 to get that quickness and that quick burst and velocity back into his offense.
So now from their 12, it's 3rd and 10 for Buffalo. They'll keep it on the ground to Thurman Thomas, and Thomas crosses the 20 to the 21-yard line. He will be short of the first down as Darian Gordon makes the tackle, but Thomas will give his punter, Chris Moore, a little room.
One thing you can't do against the Denver defense is be cute. They started out trying to be cute with that trick play. It didn't work. That put them in a hole, and it set up that rush for Thurman Thomas. And that is a defense solely designed not to give up the first down. They give up the yards, but not the first down.
See what Moore has done this season. Gordon awaits the punt. Gordon, of course, second in the NFL, averaging nearly 14 yards a return. This one ducks out of bounds, just short of the 35-yard line, where the Broncos will take over when we return to Buffalo.
This is the NFL on NBC.
John Elway and the Broncos ready for their second possession of the game.
You know, John Elway is a quarterback. When you game plan for him, you got to take a lot of things into consideration, but I've got some Elway rules. You don't want him to scramble, but when he does, you better never assume a play is over. Every receiver is open, and if he moves, his receivers move with him. He's been known for his strong arm over the years, and I think the Buffalo defense is very, very aware that in these windy conditions at Rich Stadium, which next to the Jet Stadium, next to Giant Stadium is the biggest problem in the league. John Elway can still zip a ball across the field if you let a receiver go 40, 50 yards.
He hasn't missed a pass so far in this game. As you see the other scores, the Giants break on top of the Bengals. Delayed handoff. Detron Smith got nothing. Stuffed in the backfield by the defense of the Bills, led again by Damian Covington, is off to a great start here in the first quarter.
You know, Detron Smith is 3 inches shorter than Howard Griffith at fullback. He's 5'9", 230 pounds. He's more of kind of an end table than he is a fullback. I mean, you can almost eat off the top of the guy's head at 5'9", but he should be more effective as a lead blocker because of that natural-born leverage.
Two tight ends now, Sharp and Carswell on second and long. Short drop by Elway, rifles it complete to Sharp, and Shannon falls forward for a first down. It will be close anyway. Henry Jones makes sure he doesn't run further, and it's when they spot it, it will be very close.
I tell you, if I'm Wade Phillips and I'm the defensive coordinator, I can't be lulled to sleep. The defense can't be lulled to sleep. They're throwing to tight ends. They're giving the ball to the running backs. This is not a bad receiver core with McCaffrey and Smith. And Wade Smith, the defensive coordinator, the Buffalo Bills, knows full well you cannot rest a second, especially on the backside of a play with a guy like Rod Smith.
And a bit ironic that Phillips, who formerly was the head coach of the Broncos, saw John Elway firsthand up close, now has to try to defend him. Elway misses his first pass intended for McCaffrey. Jeff Burris hit him hard, and Elway went down in the face of the rush from Bruce Smith.
Well, anytime you see John Elway in the pocket like he was there, you see him patting the ball. You hear pat, pat, pat. That's because the receivers down the field are covered. Here you got Burris working against McCaffrey, but McCaffrey is the second to third option for John Elway. There's the first pat, the second, the third, the fourth, and then the throw. That's when you know John Elway is looking and he's searching.
Davis has a first down, beats Schultz down the sideline all the way to the 22-yard line of the Bills. That was a mismatch as Kurt Schultz could not make the play on Davis.
And this is purely designed to take advantage of the quickness of Davis. Just flip it out quick, get a great lead block outside on a pull by Zimmerman, the left tackle. And now it's just that burst. This offense and this running back Davis did not have that burst last week against the Raiders.
Closing in on 1,000. That one covered 29 yards for Davis. Split backs here, Smith and Davis. And false start by Gary Zimmerman will cost the Broncos 5 yards.
Oh, he must be completely comfortable now at left tackle. He's jumped off sides a couple times last 2 games.
Referee today, Ron Blum.
False start, 65 offense, 5 yards, repeat first down.
You know, and seriously, part of that is a comfort zone for an offensive lineman when they know things are coming. He's thinking about a technique. He's not thinking about the count as much as he's thinking about what am I going to do with Bruce Smith and how am I going to do it.
That'll make you do a lot of funny things thinking about Bruce Smith. Davis tripped up in the backfield, falls forward for a gain of 2 or 3 yards. Henson, Washington, and Sam Rogers from a linebacker spot, putting the hit on Davis.
You know, and defensively for the Buffalo Bills is a decision time right here. You've got John Elway in this offense in the second and, 11 or 12, and you've got a defense that can get after the quarterback. You see the sacks and per attempt, 3rd in the league. This is a situation. It's 2nd down. Now's the time to take your shot with a blitz.
Elway nearly fumbled the snap and is taken down. Bruce Smith. And Smith will save the football. Why? That's his 10th sack, and he becomes the first player in NFL history to have double-digit sacks in 11 seasons.
And he does it, it's a persistent sack. It's not a talent sack, because Zimmerman does a nice job of blocking him initially, but as any offensive lineman will know, and most fans, once you lose the guy inside and the quarterback runs, you have no control.
And there it is, the first player in NFL history, 11 seasons with double-digit sacks, 150 for his career, second all-time. Davis behind a convoy of blockers, cutting back to the 20, and wrestled down there by Marlo Perry. Bruce Smith talking yesterday about this milestone, saying it would be very significant. You saw him immediately take the football to save. This was one he was looking for, and it does cement what is already a sure spot in the Hall of Fame, but goes down as part of the Bruce Smith lore.
He's a 1970s defensive end at his size at about 255, 260, dominating in a 320, 330-pound era of the offensive tackles he's going against.
Elam will attempt a 38-yard field goal, and it's no good. Elam struggled a bit last week, bothered by injuries, and so Shanahan gets the big run from Davis. Then the drive stalls, and Elam misses the field goal.
You know, this is not only a tough place for a quarterback, it's very tough for a kicker. Wade Phillips, the coordinator, knows you get a kicker in here, he's having a bad time, the wind will keep him having a bad time.
Is it the car? Or is it luck? The Prelude from Honda.
Canon's Multipass C3000. It faxes, copies, scans, and prints color images so realistic you can taste it. Well, practically.
Mr. Dave Thomas?
May I approach the bench, Your Honor? According to our records, you haven't tried our new pitas.
I guess I'm guilty.
Come try Wendy's delicious fresh stuffed pitas today.
These are great.
You know Charlie Small.
I do. He should be back in 2 to 3.
The working definition of sportsmanship.
Are those deer antlers?
Stag, actually. Bagged it myself.
What'd you use?
Chrysler LeBaron.
Working NBC Wednesdays.
Next Saturday, all hands on deck as Autry Denson and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame host the Midshipmen of Navy. Next Saturday at 1:30 Eastern on NBC.
Bruce Smith, painful knees and all, and the Buffalo defense with a big stop, turning the ball over to their offense. We asked Bruce about his knees. He said, will you have surgery? He said, the day after the season is over. Follow the NFL season online at NBCSports.com this week. Gil Brandt previews the field for Rookie of the Year honors and points out the biggest plays of the season. This week's poll asks, who's the Coach of the Year at the halfway point of the season? All at NBCSports.com. And one of the candidates is in the backfield right now for the Bills. That's Antoine Smith at running back. And on the reverse, Eric Moulds. And Moulds chased out of bounds after a gain of 8 or 9 yards by Tim McKyer and Darian Gordon.
Now, a play like this for the Buffalo Bills is used because of the reaction time and the speed of the defense for Denver. One of the quicker defenses in the league, and you know they're going to bite. And anytime you run a reverse, anytime you run a trick play, you get 4 yards or more, it's a success. It goes into the other coordinator's computer bank upstairs, and you got them thinking about it.
That one covered 9. Here's Antoine Smith, dropped. And right now, let's go back to New York. Greg Gumbel has an update for us. Greg?
All right, Tom, at Washington, Gus Farad has answered a Vinny Testaverde touchdown pass with one of his own. 15 yards, Leslie Shepard pulls it in just in bounds with the extra point. The Redskins and the Baltimore Ravens are all tied up at 7. Tom Hammond, back to you.
All right, thank you, Greg. And here in Buffalo, we are tied as well, scoreless, as they will measure for the first down. Antoine Smith dropped nearly in his tracks by John Mobley. He only needed a yard, and he got enough.
And we talked about the need to get off to a good start, an effective start. Part of getting off to a good start is keeping Mike Shanahan's offense off the field and off the scoreboard. And Marv Levy's offense right now is doing what they now do best. And that is being very vanilla, very consistent, nothing flashy, but not making mistakes. This is a guy that goes nuts about turnover ratio. They're minus 12.
Todd Collins overshot Lonnie Johnson, who went upstairs to make the catch. It'll be little or no gain. Tyrone Braxton hit him immediately. And Marv Levy saying this was not an explosive offense, as you noted, Randy. And one of the reasons he said that he thinks that they have not been able to score early is it's an offense that lacks confidence. They've had a lot of changes in the offensive line. Todd Collins is just starting to feel comfortable at Jim Kelly's replacement. And the takeaways, the turnovers have been a problem. As you said, minus 12. Their defense is just not getting any turnovers. Collins got away from the rush, flags down as he throws it away.
Lonnie Johnson working against Darian Gordon on a corner blitz did the smart thing for an offensive player. He just flat out grabs Gordon by the jersey and says, "You aren't hitting my quarterback. I'll take the 10 yards.
Holding, 84 offense, 10 yards, repeat second down.
And really, why do you say that smart? Watch how free Darian Gordon come from the left side of your screen is. 23. Lonnie Johnson sees, he reacts, darn near rips the 2 off the back of the jersey for the 23 there off Darian Gordon. But, you know, it's intelligent. If you're going to make a mistake and you don't pick up the guy where you're supposed to, at least come back and prevent a big play, a possible turnover on a blindside hit.
Now it's 2nd and 19. Collins protection this time, and right through the hands of Quinn Early. He'd beaten Tim McKyer. He had a big chunk of yardage. Collins put it a little high, but it's a pass that Early should catch.
Oh, absolutely. He handled this pass much like the Buffalo defensive backs have handled their interception attempts. The ball's where it should be. The hands are where it should be. The fingers aren't where they should be, because they should be around the ball.
Something wasn't there. Collins has hit 2 of 4 for a minus 3 yards. Delayed handoff. Antoine Smith nearly broke free. Caught by the ankles at the 35-yard line by Mobley.
You know, one thing about having a veteran staff like the Buffalo Bills do, you don't anticipate much panic out of a slow start. You mentioned that the slow starts offensively because of the confidence. Marv Levy has 1 star on the offense. That's Andre Reed. People consistently take his star away, and it's up to the unproven players to prove they can do it. And so far, that's been the problem because they haven't.
Gordon awaits Chris Moore's punt. This one sails to Gordon at about the 20-yard line. And Darian returns it 10 yards to the 30. Still scoreless, 2:47 left in the first after that 44-yard punt.
10-yard return. All right, Buffalo.
This is the sound of commitment. The planes, trucks, and people of UPS in action, giving you more on-time delivery options than anybody else. Whether it's same day, overnight, 2-day, 3-day, ground, international. In other words, whatever you need to move your business.
Thanks.
UPS, moving at the speed of business.
Nick, there is still 1 missile left. You must get to it before the others do.
It's a 200-horsepower engine, too audacious to be kept secret. It's advanced climate control, engineered to keep you cool no matter what kind of pressure you're under. Son's birthday. It's the TL from Acura. The true definition of luxury. Yours.
Scoreless at the 2:47 mark, first period in Buffalo. You've heard of keeping up with the Joneses. Well, it's the Smiths that are the forces here. Two of the best defensive players in the NFL history. Now with the Broncos offense on the field.
Hey, Neil Smith, for my money, has to prove he can function without Derek Thomas on that outside of him as well as he did in Kansas City, in Denver. He has not been the physical dominating force he was in Kansas City so far. And you know, what else can you say about this Smith, Bruce Smith? He has been the physical dominating force.
There's Neil on the season with 4.5 sacks coming into today. Now 10 for Bruce Smith. Elway had it knocked down by Bill Hansen. Hansen, Randy, is an unsung defensive player. 7th season, North Dakota State. Very solid.
You know, he's one of the first players opposing offensive linemen talk about when they talk about the Buffalo Bills defense. And, you know, he comes a lot closer to catching this bullet from John Elway than Quinn Early did catching the pass from Todd Collins.
Were it anyone else throwing it with a little less velocity, Hansen might have had it stick. Davis cuts back, trapped in the backfield. Hansen got a piece. First man to hit him, though, was Gabe Northern. Spielman was there, too.
Yeah, one thing I love about this Buffalo defense is just their pride. A lot of veterans, a lot of Pro Bowlers, and they know darn well what the key to the season for the Buffalo Bills is. The key is the defense has to keep them in every single football game.
Chris Spielman, 84 tackles. He had 14 Monday night against Indianapolis in a game that the Bills won barely thanks to their defense. Their offense did nothing. 3 field goals. Elway buying a little time, now has plenty of green in front, pulls up and short hops Shannon Sharp. It'll be 4th down for Denver.
Yeah, I'm not sure if John Elway wasn't past the line of scrimmage when he threw that ball. You know, because the point of the line of scrimmage was just past the 30-yard line. Now watch where John Elway goes. He can't go past about right here. Check it out. He double checks. He was past the line of scrimmage.
He was.
Without a doubt. It was pointed out by the defense of Buffalo, but it was missed by the officials.
Tom Ruin will punt on 4th down. Low, short punt. Jeff Burrs lets it bounce. It takes a good Denver bounce. And will be downed at about the 24-yard line by Dwayne Carswell. 45-yard punt with a good roll.
You know, John Elway last week rushed for 48 yards, his highest total of the year. And here he is getting this thing and letting it go. And that ball is on the 29-yard line when it's released from his hand, and that is past the line of scrimmage. And, you know, obviously, earlier in his career, running was a real option. Right now, I think running is more of a necessity, something that has to be done. You saw there the hesitation at running.
He leaves the running to Terrell Davis these days. 1:45 left, first quarter. Buffalo still has not scored a touchdown in the first quarter of this season. Todd Collins completes the pass. And diving for a first down, Andre Reed with his first reception of the season. Andre Reed passing the 800 reception milestone against Indianapolis. He's the 4th in NFL history with that many.
Well, I told you, this is the star of this offense. Defenses want to take him away. He's going to catch a zone there. That gave him the room up front, and that fight at the end is one of the reasons he's a star.
Thurman Thomas, another star, gets only a couple of yards. John Mobley throws him back.
Stop by 51, John Mobley.
Next Saturday, it's the return of the NBC Saturday Trilogy with 3 amazing shows. First, The Pretender is back. Then the newest thrill, Sleepwalkers, followed by the return of Profiler. NBC Saturday Trilogy next Saturday on NBC. Collins sacked. Traylor will get the sack. Keith Traylor, his 2nd sack of the season.
Well, what happens here is you got your basic jailbreak. Keith Traylor and Harold Hasselbeck, number 96, coming from the middle of this offensive line. just comes straight through. I've noticed I didn't say defensive line. I said coming from the middle of the offensive line because the offensive line wasn't where it was supposed to be, which is in front of Traylor and Hasselbeck.
20 seconds left in the quarter. Collins. Just tripped up. That's Neil Smith. Just got a hand to trip up Todd Collins.
You know, that play right there, Tom, they ran this numerous times against New England with a play action, trying to fool the defense it was a run. They haven't run it effectively, and the safeties ignored the play action.
Bills still have not scored a touchdown in a first quarter this season, but they didn't lose any ground. It's 0-0.
All right, take care of yourself and call us.
Everything okay?
Now he's going to France to study painting.
I thought he was into photography.
Well, now he wants to be Monet. Last year in iced tea business, now this. I mean, why can't he find one thing and stick to it?
Well, he is your dad.
At Aetna Retirement Services, we not only help you build assets, but manage them as well. Build for retirement, manage for life.
Hey, Joey, light up the court. And hit the radio.
Every day, car batteries are put to the test. And every day, America's most trusted lives up to its name. Die Hard. Tried and true.
Tom Hamm and Randy Cross in Buffalo after a scoreless first quarter. The second quarter will begin with the Buffalo punt. The offense of the Bills continues to sputter, kept in the game by their defense. It's a familiar refrain for Buffalo fans.
Well, definitely. I mentioned it last week when they played Oakland. And really, this is a team in the Denver Broncos that eventually will spurt on Marv Levy's Bills, and they have to hang with them. Another thing they have to do is a young quarterback like Todd Collins has got to have some options. He's going to get pressured, he's going to be fooled, and they're going to be covered. He's got to have other options and things to do. You saw Johnson, 84, the tight end in the front of the screen there. He's got to have that option of dumping that off and not having to try to spread a little mustard on that football and eat it.
Chris Moore ready to punt. Darian Gordon, who spent the last series on the bench, not in the secondary, is back to return this punt. Will fair catch it and makes the fair catch at the 40 or 39-yard line of the Denver Broncos. And as John Elway trots to the field, we'll trot to New York and join Greg Gumbel for an update.
All right, Tom, it's St. Louis, the Battle of Missouri. The Rams had gone 10 quarters without an offensive touchdown until this one. 13 yards, Tony Banks to Isaac Bruce with the extra point. St. Louis with the lead on Kansas City, 7-3. Tom?
All right, Greg, good news for Denver Bronco fans as the Chiefs behind early. Their team, the Broncos, scoreless tie with Buffalo. Terrell Davis. 3 yards, Damian Covington again on the tackle for Buffalo.
Stop by number 57.
Covington, the all-time career tackle leader for North Carolina State. Twice was All-Atlantic Coast Conference, also was on the wrestling team with the Wolfpack. And in fact, in his high school days in New Jersey, is a Prep All-American wrestler and New Jersey Wrestler of the Year at Overbrook High School.
And he's got that kind of wiry snap-on strength, too.
Elway, a gunshot complete to Rod Smith, and a fumble, and the Bills have it. And then they fumble the ball. Out of bounds, whose will it be? Denver. And now they're going to discuss it. Keep in mind that the Bills have not recovered a fumble all season.
And did such a wonderful job of punching that thing out of Smith's hands and getting the recovery. Thomas Smith has it and then can't hold on to it. The question is not only who had it, but where was his body as he recovered the ball on the sidelines. A lot of the times a player will get it, but part of his body would be laying out of bounds when he does get it.
The Bills have such an aggressive defense, it's almost incomprehensible that they haven't recovered a fumble all season and may still not have. It's been driving Marv Levy crazy.
And there's really not much you can do about it. It's not like something you can, I'll solve it by doing X or Y. I mean, this is just something, one, holding on to interceptions, and two, causing fumbles. Because a lot of times you try to start causing fumbles, that's when you miss tackles. And Marv Levy not happy with the call that goes against his Bills, and the ball goes back to the Broncos.
It will be Denver ball and way upfield.
I'll tell you one thing about Marv Levy, 72 years old.
The ball was fumbled, and Denver recovered. First down, Denver.
All right, here's Rod Smith. You'll see the fumble, ball poked out from behind. Now you're going to see Thomas Smith get it. McCaffrey pokes the ball out. McCaffrey crawls over the top, and he gets it. The ball did pop back out, but at no time it looked like his body was ever out of bounds. Here you'll be able to really see the body. Smith, ball out. He had the ball, and he was inbounds.
Denver ball, first down run, Terrell Davis. 2 yards. The Buffalo defense this last couple of series led by Phil Hansen, playing the run tough from Davis, and Marv Levy is so frustrated about the fact that they cannot recover a fumble. Perhaps the old adage, maybe Smith should have just fallen on it, but he saw a chance to gain some yards and try to pick it up. They remain the only team that has not recovered a fumble.
Well, I'll tell you, Tom, this defense has not recovered a fumble, but if this defense wasn't as good as it is, this would easily be an 0-7 team. It would be challenging for the worst team in the league.
Batted back in the face of John Elway by Ted Washington.
And Ted Washington, look at that big left arm of his. Last year he hyperextended his elbow, and he wears a great big old brace on that thing. I mean, obviously, isn't it sound redundant to say great big old Ted Washington? Because everything is big on Ted Washington. Big legs, big midsection, and he gets that great big old arm up there with that brace on that to block that pass.
He's a great big old 6'4", 325 pounds, is Ted. 7th year from Louisville.
He's a couple of happy meals over.
I would say so. 6 defensive backs on now. 3rd down and long. Elway, you see for the day, twice has had passes knocked down. Elway steps up. Partially deflected and picked off. Intercepted by Manny Martin. And Martin brings it back to about the 16-yard line where he's tackled by Ed McCaffrey.
Tom, remember I talked about rhythm and being able to get into a rhythm? That was a late snap. The whole play, the timing was off. The ball was tipped, and an Elway interception.
His 6th of the season.
The new Century offers the luxury of dual-zone climate control, which does exactly what the name says. So whoever's on the right can have it a few degrees cooler than whoever's on the left, or vice versa. There are many degrees of luxury in the new Century. Dual-zone climate control is just one. You'll also like its cool price.
We were on vacation.
Oh, your sunglasses.
When we realized we were sitting on a gold mine.
Rubber sunglasses.
Too bad none of the stores saw it that way.
So, any more bright ideas?
Actually, yes.
I can see clear.
Our own website. And before we knew it, we were selling shades to everyone under the sun.
Open a storefront on the internet with the most powerful network in the world.
Ever since I can remember, Jake did things his own way.
Nobody believed him when he said he was going to surf the mountain.
Snowboarding will never be as popular as skiing.
Yeah. Why do I use the car? I spent my whole life doing things my own way. American Express never questioned it.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Century by Buick. Discover a little luxury in this century. By AT&T, it's all within your reach. By Frost Brewed Coors Light, to remind you the 3 most important words are "Hey Beer Man." And by American Express, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more.
Buffalo skyline as seen from the lake. Tom Hammond, Randy Cross, Orchard Park, Rich Stadium. 0-0 game after the Elway interception. Todd Collins and Buffalo taking over. Here's Antoine Smith with a nice run. Dragged down from behind by Alfred Williams.
Well, that interception John Elway threw on that last play for the Denver Broncos is a team effort. Not only do you want to watch Phil Hansen, 90, right here, watch Jeff Burris, 22. He tips the ball. Hansen hits the quarterback, Elway, and causes that. I'll be honest, I think he was throwing that thing away, just trying to get it deep and out of bounds.
Third tip of the day against Elway. Here's Collins going deep for Reed. He did a 360 trying to find the ball, and it gave the defense time to recover. Ray Crockett got there, and so did Tyrone Broxton.
Absolutely no clue. Poor Andre Reed went out there. The ball was thrown up, and here's an example of the wind I was talking about. Because the ball at this point, as Andre Reed is going down the field, is hanging and moving with the wind. He can't see it over that shoulder. He can't see it over that shoulder, and by the time he turns back, it's over the original shoulder.
Right. Jim Kelly talks about how the wind swirls here at Rich Stadium. Difficult to figure out. There's a determined run by Antoine Smith that gets him a first down. Didn't look like he'd be able to get it. Hit in the backfield, and Antoine twists his way to the Buffalo first down.
You know, Antoine Smith is a running back that's going to make a big, big difference as time goes on with this offense, because not only of his explosiveness, but his ability and his strength at the end of runs. He's going to break a lot of tackles and make a lot of yards late in runs.
Collins across the middle, threw it. Intended for Andre Reed, and way overshooting him. Ray Crockett defending Andre. We understand in that Dallas-Philadelphia game that Aikman has injured his neck, and his return to the game is questionable.
That's all Jerry Jones and the Cowboys need is Troy Aikman to go out. They've already got about half an Emmitt Smith. Everybody tries to take Michael Irvin out of the ball game.
And the offensive line has been struggling.
And that's being charitable.
Kansas City still trailing St. Louis. Collins steps up and again way overthrows it. It's intercepted. Intercepted by Tyrone Braxton. He was just playing center field, waited for the pass to come to him, and it homed in on his hands. There is a penalty marker down. Collins is off to a rocky start.
You know, that one right there is a combination of a hit and bad mechanics.
70 offense. Penalty is declined.
Watch Collins be hit down low, and then no follow-through. Quarterbacks have got to follow through, especially with this kind of a wind. That ball floats on him. Bad for Collins, perfect for Braxton.
I hate machines.
Huh.
Sorry, Rosie.
Why don't we go to the new Sprint store at Radio Shack, George? They have Sprint's easy-to-use products.
And the know-how of Radio Shack.
They even showed Astro how to use his mobile phone.
They could even help you, Mr. J.
Astro has a mobile phone? Well, Rhonda.
The new Sprint store at Radio Shack. You've got questions, we've got answers.
Looking for more space? Try the next Century. It's got the most interior space of any vehicle in its class. Because extra space is one luxurious touch that's appreciated by families everywhere. The new Century by Buick.
Perfect for any game, Domino's has the perfect play. Choose from 3 delicious crusts. There's classic hand-tossed, crunchy thin crust, or go deep with thick ultimate deep dish. So make the call and have it all. Call now, and you can enjoy delicious Domino's pizza during the game. And why not add some of Domino's spicy buffalo wings or steaming hot breadsticks?
The Cleveland Indians. 3 times this postseason, these underdogs have had to win when it counts. Now it's all on the line again. The Florida Marlins. Can the team with the best home record in baseball win one more and capture the World Championship? A do-or-die World Series Game 7. Tonight, following football on NBC.
Tyrone Braxton with his second interception of the season, leading a 5th-ranked pass defense. with 8 now on the year. I don't know if it's the excellence of the defense or the ineptness of the Buffalo offense. Todd Collins is 3 of 8 for 9 yards and an interception. Sacks total 11 yards, so they've got negative yardage in the passing game. Davis fights his way to the 20-yard line. 8-yard gain. Damian Covington, another tackle. Right now, we'll go back to New York. Greg Gumbel has another update for us. Greg?
All right, Tom, back to Jack Kent Cooke Stadium in Washington, where Bam Morris plows into the end zone to break a 7-7 tie and cap a 22-play drive. And now, Baltimore with a 1-touchdown lead on the Redskins early in the second quarter, Tom.
All right, Greg, seems odd to see Baltimore and Washington on the scoreboard. It's been a while since we've seen that. Elway, play action, fake and a roll. Being chased. Tucks it under and dives to the 8-yard line. First down, Denver. Chris Spielman finally caught up with him. Sam Rogers couldn't catch him. Elway, even at his advanced age, has enough speed to elude the linebackers.
That is some serious guts to call by Mike Shanahan and Gary Kubiak. Just a naked boot this way. There's no receivers. People are blocking for John Elway. This is designed to get a first down. It's designed for 2, and it got a lot more than that.
12 to be exact.
Because John runs scared real well.
So Kubiak sees the bootleg pick up 12. First and goal for the Broncos. And a timeout called by Denver. Denver calls timeout, but they're knocking on the door for the first score of the game.
Oh, free beer.
I gotta warn you, boys, those seats are taken. By us. Okay, I warned you.
Excuse me, those are our beers. Excuse us. We should have known these were yours.
You being that rugged outdoor type and all.
Shit, couldn't you see him hiking through the Rockies, climbing snow-capped peaks like some great American hero?
Who do you think you are, John Wayne?
No, that would be me.
Yeah, right. I'm Ben Cartwright.
No, he's over there.
Anything we can do for you?
We was just about to buy a cold one for the Duke.
Well, don't make a point of saying that too often, and once more will be too often.
Coors Light for the house!
Looks like this little fracas is about over.
You're buying a car. You know exactly which cars you want and which cars you don't want. But there are still cars out there that you don't know that you do want. Recently, Oldsmobile has come out with so many new models, they might not be on your list yet. They should be. So before you buy, find out all you can. Come to Oldsmobile's 100th anniversary premiere and drive them. Find out.
Coming up next, Game 2 of our NFL on NBC doubleheader. The Jaguars, the Steelers. Mark Brunell leads Jacksonville against Cordell Stewart and Pittsburgh in this fight for first in the AFC Central. Or Napoleon Kaufman and the Raiders face the Seahawks. Or regional action, the NFL on NBC next.
Bruce Smith and the defense trying to keep the Broncos out of the end zone, and thank goodness for Bruce. Makes a pretty good hood ornament there too, doesn't it? Thank goodness for their defense, because the offense is in its 10th straight quarter without a touchdown. Scoreless here in Buffalo, but first and goal for the Broncos. Elway's pass off the hands of Terrell Davis.
And this red zone is exactly where Mike Shanahan's offense is at its most dangerous. People always talk about, gee, it's a compressed field and there's not so much area to move around. Mike Shanahan's offense can beat you more ways from 10 yards out than it can from 30 yards out.
And, of course, the always dangerous Shannon Sharp, a man to look for here. Davis cuts back. Dropped at the 4-yard line by Henry Jones, the strong safety.
And the new weapon in this offense is Terrell Davis, and this move, the cutback, because of the job on the backside done by the blockers. Mark Schlereth does a great job on Spielman, 54, the outside linebacker, and Terrell Davis has that burst and that acceleration when he cuts back.
11 carries, 66 yards for Davis. Elway on third down, 1 of 3. But they have not converted a third down. On third and goal, Elway, chased from the pocket, pulls up, delivers, incomplete. Carswell closest to it, the ball well behind him. And on fourth down, Shanahan and company will attempt a field goal. Elam missed one earlier.
That is good team defense. Bruce Smith gets the outside initially, but Gabe Northern, number 99, comes all the way from the other side to hurry Elway, and a great job down the field in the end zone of coverage by the Buffalo defense.
Jason Elam attempting a 22-yard field goal, and this one is good. So after missing earlier, Elam connects, and the Broncos have the first points of the game. 3-0 Denver with 9:35 left in the second.
The all-new Intrigue, a sophisticated twist on a sports sedan.
Most low-priced computer ads include legal type, like this, to let you know about all the wonderful things you won't be getting with your computer. Now this system includes everything you need to get started: printer, monitor, and software. It's only $14.99 plus shipping and tax. And best of all, it's from Gateway. Gateway computers feature Intel Pentium processors. Call us at 1-800-GATEWAY and we'll build one for you.
Tuesday, a baby out of control.
Bouncer, bouncer, bouncer.
There's only one way to make her be quiet.
We've just got to keep her moving.
Yeah.
For the rest of our life.
If they stop, the baby explodes in tears.
Just drive without stopping.
Based on actual events.
Oh, man.
Speed Baby.
What's your name? Kiana.
I'm Mad About You special, NBC Tuesday.
Broncos turn the Braxton interception into 3 points, a Jason Elam field goal. And Elam set to kick off for the Broncos now, with Moulds and Holmes deep for Buffalo.
Hey, as good a job as this Buffalo defense has done frustrating John Elway and the Denver offense, this Buffalo offense has got to find a way to hold on to this ball for a while and keep this defense off the field. Not because of fatigue, just because of morale.
38 total yards and a -2 on the passing game for the Bills so far, and the rain has begun here at Rich Stadium. Elam's kickoff to Moulds. And Eric Moulds, been criticized for too much dancing on those kickoff returns, gets a good one here to the 32-yard line.
24 yards.
Halloween Sunday, they thought a serial killer was on the loose.
I don't think he's human, and he's taking out my city.
The only explanation was impossible to believe. 3 legends of evil are alive in L.A. An NBC original event, House of Frankenstein 97, next Sunday on NBC.
Great place to hide, Tom. It's L.A. Who'd notice? And hey, that got to be right in place, too. It's a bad look there.
Well, this has been a house of horrors so far for the Bills offense. They're in their 10th quarter without a touchdown. Here's a pass to Reamersma, the tight end, former Michigan teammate of quarterback Todd Collins. Ray Crockett makes the stop after a gain of maybe 4 yards.
Hey, at this point, though, that play to Reamersma there was a little victory. This offense needs a little victory. Little victory after little victory, and you get a couple of first downs. You hold the ball for a while. Watch Todd Collins throw the ball, though. Does he look like he's kind of aiming it?
Yeah, you're right.
He's not slinging it. He's kind of aiming it.
He looks like a quarterback that has lost his confidence. Here's Thurman Thomas. Can't get outside. Steve Atwater horse collars him and throws him out of bounds. Atwater, one of the men that got to the Broncos training facility to catch the bus and eventually the plane to Buffalo. Got there by snowmobile yesterday.
There were some great stories coming out of that whole thing between Atwater coming on snowmobile, McKyer going through the snow, as well as Zimmerman to get into the stadium. But you know, that's not a patented big hit from Atwater. It has been missing from his game, but is a sure tackle.
Third down for Buffalo. Collins still looking. Could find no one. And Alfred Williams takes him out of bounds. And again, the Buffalo offense does absolutely nothing.
Well, you know, part of the problem is they know Andre Reed is the guy. So what do? You bracket him inside and out. Up top, you got Braxton, the safety. Down below, you got Crockett, the corner. There is nowhere to get the ball to a friendly face. Andre Reed is just not a factor against that defense.
But didn't Reed make a mistake in not running with the quarterback to give him a target as Collins was scrambling?
Right about the time of that collision when Crockett hit him.
Gordon fields Moore's punt at the 15-yard line and then falls down, sits down to be more precise, at the 25-yard line.
Return.
And as the Broncos get set to take over, let's check in again with Greg Gumbel.
All right, Tom, at the Meadowlands, the Giants have taken a 10-7 lead. This is the ever-popular ensuing kickoff. Eric Bieniemy breaks loose. A horrible attempt at a tackle by Brad Deloiso nets him nothing. A 102-yard return. That's a franchise record for Cincinnati. The Bengals regain the lead on the Giants. 14-10, second quarter, Tom.
Former Colorado Buffalo with the kickoff return.
Lighten up, Greg. Greg's starting to dog the kickers now.
Pitch to Terrell Davis. Beautiful tackle right at the 25-yard line. Chris Spielman, leading tackler for the Bills, the former Detroit Lion, who spent 8 years in Detroit, all 8 as their #1 tackler.
And this is a 3-4 defense designed to let those inside linebackers run to the ball. And especially when you got a nose tackle like Ted Washington who can eat up blockers. That lets Covington and Spielman go where they want.
A late Dawson reception has given Kansas City the lead over St. Louis. Davis set up a 3rd and long for the Denver offense. There's Damian Covington with help from Ted Washington. Credit for the stop.
Boy, it's a nice job by that whole defense of maintaining their gaps and getting to the ball. Watch Ted Washington, 92, down the line, maintaining his blocks, getting there. He and Covington make that tackle. I mean, that is what defenses do against Terrell Davis if they want to stop the cutbacks. Stay in your lanes.
Detron Smith in the backfield with Terrell Davis. Elway steps up, and there's the completion to Smith. Not a proton, not a neutron, but a Detron. And he has the first down for Denver.
That's a little too deep for me, Tom.
Bruce Smith was chasing Elway, but he stepped up, got time, found Smith, and then he's tackled by Henry Jones.
But look at the difference, the contrast in quarterbacks. Elway, the veteran, just confidently moves out of the pocket and finds that alternative in Detron Smith. You're not seeing the confidence or the alternatives from Todd Collins.
Started 4 for 4, only 30% since then. Terrell Davis spins and gets a couple of extra yards.
That's one thing about making spin moves and whatnot inside, especially against this defense. When you've got safeties like Scholes and Henry Jones, if you spin inside, you're liable to spin into a face full of safety.
Terrell Davis, 70 yards on the day now. His mom has moved from San Diego to Denver. He said she's been so good to him. He went away to school and now sharing this important time, this successful time of his life with his mom in Denver. Lived with him for a while now. She's gotten her own place with a couple of her kids. Davis on the receiving end of the pass that time and cracked hard by Spielman and Hansen.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tom, you know, this Denver team struggles yesterday to get out of Denver. The huge snowstorm. People are saying, well, gee, how is that snowstorm going to affect them? What is the story with the weather and the travel? Well, I'll tell you what, folks, they better forget about the weather and the travel. They got a lot more problems with this Buffalo Bills defense. The defense is a bigger factor for Mike Shanahan and his group.
They got plenty of it in Denver, enough to share, but you can bet before the season's over, it'll be visiting Buffalo as well. Davis all by himself on the reception. Terrell Davis stutter steps his way to the 34-yard line of the Bills. Run out of bounds by Thomas Smith. Terrell Davis, dangerous as a receiver as well as a runner today.
You forget about a lot of things. You forget about your car keys, and some people forget about anniversaries, and occasionally you forget about birthdays, but I can't see any way if you're on defense, you forget about Terrell Davis if he's anywhere inside those stripes. Wide open, no one around him. I mean, they're lucky he didn't make him pay with 6 points by leaving him that lonely.
It did get 24 yards and net a Denver first down. The ball spotted at the 33 of the Bills. Here's Davis on the ground. Nearly broke free to the 25-yard line. He rips off 8 yards before he's tackled by Kurt Schultz. Look at all the running backs that were taken ahead of Terrell Davis in the 95 draft. Some familiar names, some unfamiliar ones.
And I'll tell you what, Tommy, you take Napoleon Kaufman out of that mix, and Terrell Davis has outrushed all of them. Kaufman's made an impact, obviously, especially this year with the Raiders, but here's a guy that's a good, lucky pick, because nobody drafts that good, that deep, on purpose.
Here he is again. Why not? Close to the first down, wrapped up by Bruce Smith and Henry Jones. Chris Spielman was there too.
It was funny, you talked about Terrell Davis, his mother moving to Denver. You had a great talk with him last week in Oakland. We'd asked him about, you know, he's got the grandkids and there's all kinds of kids running around the house. And how is it having those kids around the house? He goes, well, you know, sometimes you sit on one side of the fence. Do I want kids? Do I not want kids? Do I want kids? Do I not want kids? He goes, I spend enough afternoons around those kids, and I'm kind of glad I can just say, well, maybe not right now.
You know, Mom also does a pretty good job of screening the girlfriends these days.
Well, I tell you, that's it's not surprising this guy is as stable on the home front as he really is, and has a great influence as he does, like his mom at home, because, you know, she has done a quality job of raising this young man. This guy should be the model that other young athletes model themselves around the way he acts.
One of the NFL good guys. Approaching the 2-minute warning. Pitch to Davis. Gets to the outside. Hesitates and drives his way to the 15-yard line. Thomas Smith again forced to make the tackle on Davis. Ed McCaffrey out there gave him a block, and Davis knew what to do with it.
Hey, if you're going to model yourself on how he acts off the field, you might not be able to note what this guy can do on the field, too, because, you know, you talk about the moves and the slithering and the dithering around that some of these running backs do. I mean, his lower body never really moved. It was the upper body shifting back and forth that sort of acted as the rudder on that run.
8 yards on that one, 89 for the day. 2nd and 2 from the 15. Davis again. Dodged one man in the backfield and takes it all the way to the 9-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal, Denver. When we come back to Buffalo, we'll stop here for the 2-minute warning. Denver threatening to add to its lead.
It's your fault that everything's messed up around here. I'm sorry. It can happen in any home and in any neighborhood. It's domestic violence. I'm Steve Atwater of the Denver Broncos, and this is my wife, Letha. The NFL and its players are concerned about the problems of domestic violence. That's why we're United Way volunteers working for the Safe House here in Denver.
Okay.
United Way supports more than 1,000 centers like this one here in Denver and cities across the nation.
The NFL, the United Way, and you, the power of teamwork.
Here it comes.
Good morning, men. You are the top high school football coaches in America. You understand that football is more than a game. It's a test of dedication and heart. Football is a test of character. And when an athlete leaves your program, Coach Wallace, he may not be a great player, but you have made him a great person. I offer you my highest compliment. Hats off.
The NFL congratulates Jimmy Wallace, Jeff Burris, his high school coach.
Now, if I can just get you to dress right. 2
minutes left in the half, 3-0 Denver. Last night, Cleveland pitcher Chad O.J. was the unlikely hero at the plate.
And he lines the ball into right field for a base hit. 1 run home. Second man being waved in. The Indians are in front 2-0.
And don't miss the ultimate Game 7 in the World Series tonight following football here on NBC.
Yeah, I like the Cleveland Indians to be the first team since the Pittsburgh Pirates of We Are Family and Willie Stargell and the guys to be down 3-2, go in the other guy's house and win those last 2 games for the World Series title. It's something in me just wants Cleveland to get a title. Maybe it's the old major, the old major league films or something.
The way the series has gone so far, though, it doesn't bode well for Miami. Yeah, the Marlins, they've alternated victories, so the Florida Marlins, it's their time tonight. We'll see. Incidentally, it's Cleveland Brown Day here in Buffalo, and some of the Cleveland Indians fans are here. Terrell Davis for the touchdown. A mile-high salute from Buffalo after a 9-yard jaunt by Terrell Davis.
This is a combination of some real good blocking, some real good running, and a whole lot of want to. Because here's the good blocking up front. He's got the hole. There's the good running, and here's the good want to. Because that last yard is all Terrell Davis just saying, I want in the end zone.
And that 9-yard touchdown run puts him over 100 for the first half as Jason Elam tacks on the extra point. Terrell Davis was the workhorse on that drive, both on the ground and through the air, as he scores his 9th rushing touchdown of the season.
And this Buffalo defense has really been strong most of this half. But against Terrell Davis on previous plays and right here on that play, they were a victim of a good offensive line and the best young running back in the NFL. Denver players are not real happy about other players around the league stealing their salute, especially Tim Brown last week of the Raiders made a clutch catch on 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 12. To seal that game and got up and immediately saluted Tyrone Braxton, the safety.
Wade Phillips and his defensive unit, as they discuss things with Bruce Smith, showing some of those pictures from upstairs. But the defense has not been the problem for Buffalo.
Guys, Bruce, look at that snapshot. He went where he didn't go towards you. He went in the middle of the defense, and there weren't enough guys in blue trying to stop the guy in white.
And he took a bunch of them with him. 11 plays, 74 yards. Here's Elam with the kick. Eric Moles dropped at the 25-yard line.
Hey, but it's cold out here. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Those are his over 100-yard rushing game so far today. Another 104 yards. But Tom, he mentions, hey, Mom, I hope you're home cooking. They had kind of a buffalo wings and sandwiches dinner last night when they got on here at 1 o'clock. They ate airplane food last night. Kind of a quick meal tonight. So, Mom, I hope you are cooking because he's going to be ready for some good hot food when he gets home.
If he can get over there. Todd Collins, first down pass. He continues to play tentatively. Eric Moles was covered. He threw it at his feet. Stay with us at halftime. The Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report. Greg Gumbel, Chris Collinsworth, Sam White. Scores and highlights. And a report on the series. Game 7 between the Marlins and the Indians coming up tonight.
Tom, this is kind of a pick on Chris day, wasn't it? Once Chris Collinsworth mentioned the fact that he thought that Glenn Foley should be starting for the Jets, it was White got on him and Greg got on him, and then Gibbs all the way from North Carolina gets on him.
Chris is such an easy target. Collins again overthrows his intended receiver, this time Quinn Early.
If you look at the scoreboard right now, there's a big "ought" on for the Buffalo Bills. And if you got 13 yards passing, you're well on your way to keeping that "ought" intact. That one isn't even close. Marv Levy's got to find some way to get this offense jump started. I don't care if it's battery chargers to the ears. They got to get them going.
Collins somehow got away and completes the pass to Early, but short of the first down. Stop me if you've heard this one. The Buffalo offense is awful.
Chris Moore to punt. Heard that one a little bit more often today, but you know, that replay right there, or that play there by Todd Collins running around looked like something out of the Three Stooges. I go to my left, I go to my right. I expected to hear the old Curly.
That's not what they're going to hear in the locker room at halftime, I don't think, as they're about to complete their 10th quarter in a row without a touchdown. Chris Moore. Line drive to Darian Gordon. At the point of attack, he somehow got free, but still didn't get much of a return. Sam Rogers on special teams after that 40-yard punt by Moore. Do you think that Todd Collins should stand in the pocket a little longer? He looks like he's awfully quick to come out of there. He had Andre Reed open last time.
Well, he's getting a lot of pressure. And keep one thing in mind, Tom. We're seeing Andre Reed standing all by his lonesome on the Denver sideline. Todd Collins is running for his life on the other side of the field. He's got a better chance of spotting his mom in the far stands than he does spotting Andre Reed on the field by himself.
So Reed, too, is giving up when he should have been moving to give Collins a target. He was just standing there watching the play. Terrell Davis.
Davis up the middle.
Covington and Schultz after a gain of maybe 6 yards for Terrell Davis, who has become unstoppable here lately in the second quarter. Made some key receptions as well. Timeout, Denver.
You got John Elway and Terrell Davis and the tools they have on offense, and Mike Shanahan over there talking to both his stars on the sideline. You had best, if you're Buffalo's defense, tighten it up right here. Because this offense, heck, 1 minute and 16 seconds, your offense can get the ball back with 1 minute left in the half. Because they can score on you in a heartbeat. Don't stop attacking. Don't start putting the pressure on John Elway, worrying about Terrell Davis.
Wade Phillips has done a good job in this first half of keeping that Denver offense under control, but things starting to unravel as the defense has spent most of the first half on the field. The Buffalo offense unable to get a thing going.
And the string that unraveled the mess so far has been wrapped around number 30, Terrell Davis.
Broncos have 1 timeout left, as you saw. Elway with no pressure now, chased from the pocket. Good coverage downfield with the Bills because Elway had time initially before the protection broke down as Phil Hansen finally got a little penetration.
Well, I got to tell you, there is no quitting Phil Hansen. Phil Hansen gets out there, and he is not going to stop until he sees John Elway completely off the field. I'm not talking about part way. I'm talking about all the way. Phil Hansen at the right defensive tackle right there. Watch Hansen at the end of the play. Elway knows he's going out of bounds. Hansen's going to be absolutely positive. That's a smart play by a defensive player, knowing Elway can still make a play late in a run like that.
Here's 3rd and 5. Davis to the outside and has the first down. He undressed Thomas Smith on that little duck to the inside and then run to the outside and picked up the first down.
When you play the Buffalo defense, you worry about Bruce Smith. There's Bruce Smith up the field. It played right into the Denver's hands that Bruce Smith was doing that. Gary Zimmerman gives them a token screen block outside, but that whole thing's coming up because they know Davis can get outside. And with a fake like that, they also know that Thomas Smith is not going to go one-on-one and just stick Terrell Davis. He's got to try to just push him out of bounds.
Gain of 12, first down Denver, 1:03 in the half. From the gun, Elway dumps it off to Davis. Breaks 1 tackle, but can't the second. Driven down by Thomas Smith and Marlo Perry that time. And Denver spends his final timeout.
You know, the last play, Thomas Smith couldn't tackle Terrell Davis because he caught him in the middle of a fake. In that play, he caught him in the middle of a spin. It's a lot easier to get Terrell Davis out of the spin than it is out of the fake.
When he's not looking at you, huh? With his back turned.
Exactly. When you see the back of his belt, it's a lot easier to hit that than his belt buckle.
Don't forget, coming up next, most of these NBC stations, Game 2 of the doubleheader. Most of you see the Jaguars battle the Steelers. Some will see the Raiders face the Seahawks or regional action. Check your local listings for the game in your area. The doubleheader, Game 2, coming up next here on NBC. And then, of course, capped off by Game 7 of the World Series. The Florida Marlins, the Cleveland Indians tonight.
Boy, that Jacksonville-Pittsburgh game is going to be a great scene. You know, 4 o'clock game, kind of gray skies, 2 explosive offenses, but I think 2 of the more physical defenses in the league. I mean, that's one of those games you wouldn't be surprised if it's 35-34 or 7-6.
A terrific game the first time they met in Jacksonville with a blocked field goal preserving the win for the Jaguars. Elway, second down, scrambling free. Completes it to McCaffrey. Flag down, a late one. McCaffrey is close to a first down. Tackled by Henry Jones. Check the penalty marker. Against the Broncos.
And something that Broncos line is known for is being willing to do just about anything to block people, and chop blocks sometimes go into the description of willing to do anything for Mike Shanahan's offense. And you're talking to a guy here, though, that doesn't think that's dirty football. I got 3 Super Bowl rings because you do what you have to do.
Personal foul, chop block, center and the guard, offense, 15 yards, repeat second down. By rule, we'll run 10 seconds off the clock. Please set the clock to 31 seconds.
In the inside, you got Nalen, you got David Diaz-Infante, 63, and for Habib at right guard. There's the chop. You know what? He chops Bruce Smith, but he unintentionally gets the defensive tackle, accidentally gets him. That was not an intentional chop by David Diaz-Infante. Number 63 right there. Though I don't think the officials really care if Mr. Infante did that on purpose.
He makes it 2nd and 22, and they'll give the ball to Vaughn Hebron. He's to the 40-yard line. Broncos cannot stop the clock. Bruce Smith got the tackle, and they'll just let the quarter expire here and go to the locker room with the lead. A hard-fought lead against a game Buffalo defense, but the Buffalo offense has had no success at all in the first half. And that second quarter comes to a close. Shanahan and the Broncos with a 10-0 lead on the receiving and running of Terrell Davis, breaking open in the second quarter to get the only touchdown of the game so far after Jason Elam had earlier connected on a field goal after an interception. We'll be sending you to our NFL and NBC studio in New York, but first, these words from your local station.
Tuesday, a Frasier shocker. One of these people is about to become a parent.
I don't believe it.
And the words you thought you'd never hear.
Daphne, will you marry me?
Then on Just Shoot Me, Maya's dating an older man.
That wasn't what it looked like.
Good, because it looked like you were making out with your grandpa.
Now that's scary. NBC Tuesday.
He might not actually be dead because he was never really alive.
Come closer. I have news. Chevrolet has just announced financing as low as 2.9% on Chevy S10 pickups, Chevy Astros, and Chevy Blazers. I repeat. Financing as low as 2.9% on hundreds of the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks. Or choose $500 to $2,500 cash back on Astros, Trackers, and Chevy vans. What are you waiting for? Your Chevy's ready. Get it at your Chevrolet dealers Northwest.
One question I get a lot is about this up here. Is it real? And looking at some of the old advertising, I can see why you'd wonder. Well, it's real. Just like when I say we carry suits by many of the same designers as department stores, but for 20 to 30% less. That's real, too. As real as, well, you know what.
The Men's Warehouse.
You're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it.
Rich Pyatt, today at 5 o'clock on Idaho's News Channel 7.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC Halftime Report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Domino's, delivering 1 million smiles a day.
Along with the usual suspects, Chris Collinsworth and Sam Weish, I'm Greg Gumbel. Welcome to our studio in New York, everyone. Let's run down scores and highlights for you of first half action so far today, beginning with the game that you're watching in Buffalo, where the Broncos are leading it by a score of 10-0, and some of the worst hats you will see all season long on the fans in Orchard Park. Scoreless game in the first, milestone for Bruce Smith. He sacks John Elway to become the first player in NFL history with double-digit sacks in 11 seasons. Still scoreless in the second, Bills quarterback Todd Collins puts this one up for grabs. Tyrone Braxton says thank you kindly. He returns 22 yards to the Buffalo 28, led to a Jason Elam field goal and a 3-0 Denver lead, and then Terrell Davis. What a season he's having, and not a bad day either. Up the middle, 9 yards and a touchdown. He's over 100 yards rushing in the first half. Denver leads at this point by a score of 10-0, and for Terrell Davis, 21 carries, 123 yards and a touchdown. What problems for the Denver Broncos traveling all night?
Just maybe next time they'll try and keep up everybody the entire evening the way Terrell Davis is going. This is absolutely unbelievable. 123 yards, and this isn't some Pop Warner defense out there. Here's a team in the Buffalo Bills with Bruce Smith and Spielman and Pop and those guys. This is one of the top defenses in football, and he simply is running right through them.
All right, in Philadelphia, the Dallas Cowboys hold a 9-0 lead on the Philadelphia Eagles at halftime, but they have lost quarterback Troy Aikman to a strained neck. A possibility of a concussion. It would be yet another in a long line of them for Troy, and you have to wonder when things are going to break right for Dallas.
But you know, the good news is that Wade Wilson has come in off the bench here and has played very well. Really, the Dallas Cowboys should be blowing them out in this football game. The red zone problems continue for Dallas, but they are simply dominating this game to this point.
All right, Chris, in the Meadowlands, the New York Giants trail the Cincinnati Bengals 14-10. Jim Fossil's Giants riding a 4-game winning streak. 3-0 Giants. Bengals opening possession. Corey Dillon from a yard out puts the Bengals up 7-3. Second quarter now, after a pass interference call in the end zone, Charles Way of the Giants from 1 yard out. And the Giants are up 10-7. And then the ensuing kickoff, Eric Bieniemy, 2 yards deep in the end zone, finds a hole, breaks through. Brad DeLuiso is the only guy between him and the goal line. No problem. 102 yards and a touchdown. That's a Bengals team record, and Cincinnati on top by a score of 14-10. Sam, the Bengals looking better today.
Well, it was about time, and had Bieniemy been tackled with that effort, he really had a lot of conversation next week. You knew this was going to happen, though. This is mid-season. It's a pride check time. The Bengals are coming through for this, but this may be the most important halftime talk that Jim Fassel's given all year.
All right, Sam, in Washington, Jack Kent Cooke Stadium, the Bengals and the Redskins and the Ravens lead it by a touchdown. That's Coach Ted Marchibroda of Baltimore calling on his team to get tougher after 3 straight losses. Vinny Testaverde gets the offense going for the opening drive. Derek Alexander, 13 yards and a touchdown and a 7-0 Raven lead. Redskins answer right back. Gus Frerotte pumps again, finds Leslie Shepard, 15 yards, tie game at 7. Second quarter, Bam Morris caps a 22-play drive with a 4-yard touchdown run. Baltimore regains the lead. Bam Morris over 100 yards rushing in the first half, and the Ravens lead it by a touchdown. In New Orleans, the 6-1 49ers lead the 2-6 Rams 13-0. And in St. Louis, Kansas City on top of the Rams by a 17-7 count. Marty Schottenheimer's Chiefs looking for franchise win number 300. 3-0 Kansas City in the first. Tony Banks, 13 yards to Isaac Bruce. That puts the Rams up 7-3. 7-6 St. Louis in the second. Elvis Gerbach to Lake Dawson in the end zone. 21-yard touchdown catch. And the Chiefs, after the 2-point conversion, 14-7. A Stoyanovich field goal has them on top of the perhaps troublesome, with Isaac Bruce looking very good today, St. Louis Rams.
He is, but you know, there's a lake effect with Carnell Lake there in Buffalo today, the Pittsburgh's defensive back. And, of course, Lake Dawson is making the big catches for Kansas City. Kansas City may be the quietest 6-2 football team out there this year. On the other side, the Rams, they constantly make the little mistakes. Tony Banks is saying, hey, I can't hear. Suddenly there's a delay of game, 5-yard penalty. They got to cut that out.
All right, Sam. One other note for you from the world of football. Rankin Smith, the 72-year-old owner of the Atlanta Falcons, died today of heart failure in Atlanta. Our condolences go out to his family. When we come back, a report on Game 7 of the World Series will take you down to Miami right after these words from your local station.
NBC Wednesday is must-screen TV.
Somebody make that music stop!
The Dark Night of Terror.
Harry, you're an alien.
I am not!
guts and the thing that lives in the wall.
Who are you going to call, Dick? Ghostbusters!
This could be the Halloween that goes too far.
Brown lady, they're crazy!
Third Rock followed by working NBC Wednesday.
A woman brought in dying. Her surgeon is suspected in a gruesome crime.
They were getting ready to take her organs out before she was declared dead.
Ripped from the headlines. Law and Order, NBC Wednesday.
I want to be a doctor someday.
Sheila is now a surgeon.
Adventure is my goal.
Tom is now an oceanographer.
I want to help people.
Jill runs her own employment agency.
I just want to party, man.
Craig still has a drinking problem.
What's your choice? I'm Michelle Crapo. My dad, Congressman Mike Crapo, and I urge you to dream big. Don't let alcohol hold you back.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Marla Ming, today at 5 o'clock on Idaho's News Channel 7.
Time report brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Domino's, delivering 1 million smiles a day.
Greg Gumbel back in our New York studio. We called last weekend Must-See Weekend. Today is Must-See Sunday. The second half of our NFL doubleheader features the big AFC Central matchup in Pittsburgh between the Steelers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And following football at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, two of the most magical words in sports. Game 7. The World Series comes to a fitting climax in Miami. The Florida Marlins and the Cleveland Indians. With a report, Hannah Storm, Keith Olbermann, and Barry Larkin.